Restaurants are supposed to be places of comfort and warmth, filled with laughter, conversation, and the aroma of food. But some restaurants hide darker histories of stories of tragedy, murder, or long-forgotten patrons who never left. Across the United States, diners and staff report phantom footsteps in empty dining rooms, chairs moving by themselves, and shadowy figures appearing behind the bar. Some have even seen ghostly patrons finishing a meal that was never served. Tonight, we explore 25 true ghost encounters in American restaurants, where the past haunts every corner and the spirits of former visitors refuse to leave. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, is a landmark renowned for its grand architecture, rich history, and the inspiration provided for famous works of literature. Among its many attractions, the Cascades restaurant stands out as a refined dining space where guests enjoy fine cuisine while taking in panoramic views of the surrounding mountains. By day, the restaurant is bustling with activity. Waitstaff attending the tables, the clinking of cutlery, the murmur of conversation, and the warmth of conversation and laughter fill the air. Guests savor meals prepared with care, enjoying both the culinary offerings and the elegant ambience. Yet, as night falls and the last diners depart, the Cascades restaurant reportedly transforms into a space where the familiar comforts of dining are overshadowed by eerie and unexplained occurrences, giving rise to stories of hauntings that have captivated visitors for decades. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves ghostly figures moving among tables. Staff and evening visitors alike have described seeing translucent shapes gliding silently across the dining area, sometimes pausing near tables as if observing diners who are no longer there. These figures are often human in appearance, occasionally resembling past employees or patrons, and they vanish when approached or when attention is drawn to them. Guests have reported glimpsing figures in peripheral vision, only for them to disappear when looked at directly, creating a disorienting and unnerving effect. Some witnesses even claim to feel a presence passing close by, a subtle sensation of being watched as these ghostly figures move through the empty restaurant. Chairs sliding across the floor is another common aspect of the restaurant's haunted reputation. Staff members working late shifts have occasionally found chairs out of place, moved from their original positions, or even pushed slightly away from tables as if someone had just risen. Some visitors attending private evening tours have reported hearing the distinct sound of chairs scraping against the floor when the restaurant is empty, followed by an inexplicable silence. These movements are usually gentle but deliberate, adding to the sense that unseen diners or attendants continue to perform familiar routines of a bustling dining room long after the lights have been dimmed. Strange cold spots are yet another hallmark of the Cascades restaurant's eerie activity. Guests and staff have reported sudden, inexplicable drops in temperature in various parts of the dining area, sometimes moving along with them as they walk or lingering in specific spots near tables or corners. People describe feeling a cold brush against their arms or shoulders, often accompanied by a tingling sensation, which seems to indicate a presence unseen. These cold drafts frequently coincide with sightings of ghostly figures or the sounds of chairs moving, creating a multi-sensory experience that is both chilling and captivating. Among the most haunting reports is that of the silhouette of a woman serving food. Witnesses have described seeing a faint, human-shaped figure appearing behind the counter or along the aisle, holding plates or utensils as if performing the duties of a server. The figure moves gracefully toward a table, only to vanish just before reaching it, leaving no trace and no explanation. Guests have recounted the feeling of being momentarily acknowledged by the apparition, a sense of presence that is both intimate and unsettling. This sighting, more than any other, seems to carry an emotional resonance, evoking the atmosphere of a dining room, where the past continues to echo through the present. Certain areas of the Cascades restaurant are particularly associated with these reports. Tables near windows, corners of the dining floor, and sections of the restaurant used for private events or overflow seating appear to be hotspots for paranormal activity. Staff have occasionally reported hearing faint footsteps along the floor, the subtle clatter of utensils, or the soft murmur of conversation when no one else is present. Lights sometimes flicker unexpectedly, casting long shadows across the tables, amplifying the sensation that the room is alive with unseen presences. Even small, everyday occurrences like a glass shifting slightly or a napkin moving across a tablia take on an unnerving quality in this context. The history of the Stanley Hotel and its Cascades restaurant may help explain the persistence of these phenomena. Over the decades, countless employees, patrons, and staff have passed through the restaurant, many forming strong attachments to the space and the routines of dining. Some theorists suggest that the emotional energy, attention to detail, and human presence of these individuals could leave residual impressions that manifest as ghostly figures, cold spots, or moving furniture. The Bildinga-esque long-standing traditions and the many personal stories associated with it may contribute to an environment where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. Even organized evening tours or private dining events have provided opportunities for unusual encounters. Guests have reported feeling watched by unseen presences, seeing ghostly figures pass silently among tables. And sensing sudden drops in temperature. Chairs have been observed shifting, and in some instances, visitors have glimpsed the elusive silhouette of a woman serving food. These experiences are often brief but memorable, leaving those who witness them with a lasting impression of the Cascades restaurant's unique and haunting atmosphere. Leaving those who witness them with a lasting impression of the Cascades restaurant's unique and haunting atmosphere. Cascades restaurant's unique and haunting atmosphere. Despite these reports of paranormal activity, the Cascades restaurant continues to operate as a premier dining destination, providing guests with exquisite cuisine and breathtaking views. By night, however, it transforms into a realm where ghostly figures move among empty tables, chairs shift across the floor, and cold drafts brush against the living. Whether these experiences are the result of lingering spirits, residual energy, or heightened awareness in a quiet, empty dining space, have become an enduring part of the Cascades restaurant-esque mystique. For those willing to visit after hours or attend evening events, the experiences are unforgettable. The sight of ghostly figures, the subtle movement of chairs, the cold that follows from table to table, and the fleeting appearance of Cervera-esque silhouette combine to create an atmosphere that is haunting, mysterious, and utterly compelling. The Cascades restaurant at the Stanley Hotel stands as a testament to the rich history of the space, the people who inhabited it, and the enduring echoes of the past that continue to linger in quiet, haunting ways. The Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, is often called one of the most haunted homes in America, steeped in history, legend, and tragedy. Among its many features, the plantation includes a restaurant where guests can enjoy Southern cuisine while taking the charm of the antebellum estate. By day, the restaurant offers a welcoming atmosphere. The aroma of traditional dishes fills the air, servers attend to tables, and visitors enjoy the combination of fine food and historic surroundings. Yet, beneath this inviting facade lies a storied past, one that has given rise to numerous reports of paranormal activity, particularly attributed to the spirit of Chloe, a former servant. Whose tragic story continues to echo through the halls of the plantation. One of the most frequently reported phenomena in the restaurant involves phantom footsteps. Guests seated in booths or walking along the aisles are described hearing the unmistakable sound of someone walking across the floor, sometimes pacing deliberately or moving between tables. The footsteps are often heard in areas where no staff or other diners are present, creating a disorienting and unnerving experience. Some witnesses report that the steps approach and then recede, as if an unseen presence is circling the room, carefully observing its surroundings. The sound is so distinct and realistic that diners momentarily glance toward the source, only to find empty booths and silent corridors. Objects moving on their own is another hallmark of the restaurant-esque reported hauntings. Visitors have described chairs sliding slightly away from tables. utensils shifting positions or napkins fluttering in place without any visible cause. Some have even seen glasses or small items topple to the floor and then remain where they landed. As though moved deliberately by unseen hands, these occurrences are subtle yet persistent, creating a heightened sense of awareness for anyone dining in the restaurant. Staff members who work late shifts often report noticing these movements, experiencing the unsettling feeling that Clea's presence continues to interact with the living, maintaining the rhythms of a place she once knew intimately. Ghostly whispers are yet another common experience reported by diners. Guests have recounted hearing soft, indistinct voices while sitting in empty booths. Words are just barely intelligible, but unmistakably human. The whispers often seem to drift from one area of the restaurant to another, following patrons as they move or lingering in corners near windows or along walls. Some visitors interpret these sounds as Clea's attempt to communicate, while others describe them as murmurs echoing the energy of the plantation itself. The combination of whispers with phantom footsteps and moving objects creates a multi-layered sensory experience, leaving diners with the impression that the restaurant is alive with unseen activity. Certain areas of the Myrtles Plantation restaurant appear particularly active. Booths along the far walls, corners near antique furnishings, and sections that retain elements of the plantation's original design are often cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Guests have described feeling sudden drops in temperature, experiencing an unexplainable chill that seems to pass directly over them. Chairs or table settings have been observed slightly displaced after guests leave, as though Chloe herself rearranged them. Even the faint rustle of curtains or the soft creak of floorboards can create the impression that someone is present, moving carefully through the restaurant long after the diners have departed. According to legend, Chloe was a servant of the plantation during a period marked by hardship and tragedy. Many believe that her spirit remained, tied both to the plantation and to the restaurant space she once inhabited. As if Chloe continues to move among the spaces she knew in life, performing tasks, observing activity, and interacting with the living in subtle but unmistakable ways. Even organized tours and evening events offer opportunities for unusual encounters. Guests have reported hearing footsteps approaching empty booths, seeing objects shift on their own, and detecting whispers that seem to echo from no particular source. Some claim to feel a subtle pressure or coolness as they sit at a table. These experiences often occur in combination, producing an immersive and haunting atmosphere that is both captivating and unsettling, where the past intersects with the present, and where human history and lingering spirits coexist. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the Myrtles Plantation restaurant continues to operate as a destination for visitors seeking a unique and historic dining experience. By day, it remains a lively and engaging space, where guests can enjoy the culinary traditions of Louisiana while surrounded by the charm of the antebellum estate. By night, however, the restaurant transforms into a space where phantom footsteps echo along the floor, objects move without explanation, and ghostly whispers drift through empty booths. Whether these occurrences are the result of Clea's lingering spirit, residual energy, or the heightened perception that comes with quiet and solitude, they have become an integral part of the plantation's enduring mystique. For those willing to dine during evening tours or attend special events, the encounters are unforgettable. The sensation of footsteps approaching empty tables, the subtle movement of objects, and the whispering voices all combine to create an atmosphere that is haunting, mysterious, and uniquely immersive. The Myrtles Plantation restaurant stands as a testament to the rich history of the estate, the enduring presence of Chloe, and the lasting echoes of a past that continues to whisper through the spaces she once inhabited. The White Horse Tavern in Newport, Rhode Island, is steeped in history, widely recognized as one of the oldest operating taverns in the United States. Established in the 17th century, the tavern has witnessed centuries of patrons, from colonial settlers to sailors, politicians, and travelers passing through the bustling port city. By day, it operates as a welcoming historic restaurant and bar, where guests enjoy hearty meals and local fare, while surrounded by antique furnishings, exposed wooden beams, and a rich sense of American heritage. By day, it operates as a welcoming historic restaurant and bar, where guests enjoy hearty meals and local fare, while surrounded by antique furnishings, exposed wooden beams, and a rich sense of American heritage. From colonial settlers to sailors, politicians, and travelers passing through the bustling port city. Yet, as night descends and the tavern quiets, the atmosphere reportedly changes. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves shadowy figures sitting at tables. Guests are described glimpsing dark, human-like silhouettes occupying booths or leaning over tables. Sometimes appearing to converse or drink, only to vanish when approached. Staff members working late shifts have recounted seeing these figures quietly seated in corners or near the bar, observing the room with a presence that is unmistakably human yet intangible. Visitors on after-hours tours occasionally notice these shadows in their peripheral vision, feeling a momentary chill as they pass, only to find the tables empty and the chairs perfectly aligned once they look directly. The presence of these spectral patrons lends the tavern a sense of continuity, as if centuries of history linger just out of reach. Chairs scraping the floor is another common aspect of the White Horse Taverna's haunted reputation. Staff and guests have reported hearing the distinct sound of furniture moving across wooden floors when the tavern is empty. Sometimes chairs are found slightly displaced from tables, as though an invisible guest had recently risen. During evening tours, some visitors have reported the sensation of a brush of air or the faint impression that someone unseen has just passed by, accompanied by the unmistakable creak of wood. These occurrences are subtle but consistent, creating the impression that the tavern remains alive with the routines and habits of long-gone patrons, their movements echoing through the centuries. Cold spots are yet another hallmark of the taverna's eerie activity. Guests seated near the bar or along certain tables have reported sudden, inexplicable drops in temperature, often accompanied by a sense of being watched. The chill sometimes passes along with the person moving through the space, or lingers in a particular corner of the room. Staff have described feeling cold drafts even when all doors and windows are securely closed, and the sensation is often accompanied by other phenomena, such as shadowy figures or scraping chairs. These unexplained temperature fluctuations add a tactile dimension to the visual and auditory experiences, heightening the overall sense of the paranormal. Certain areas of the White Horse Tavern appear particularly active. Tables near windows overlooking the harbor, corners along exposed beams, sections near the bar. Patrons and staff alike have observed fleeting shapes moving among these spaces, felt sudden chills, or heard faint whispers that seem to drift through the tavern. Even objects such as glasses, utensils, or napkins have occasionally shifted slightly without explanation, reinforcing the impression that the tavern is inhabited by unseen presences. The combination of these subtle movements and atmospheric changes creates an environment that is simultaneously historic and haunting. The history of the White Horse Tavern may help explain these experiences. For over 3 centuries, the tavern has welcomed countless individuals, many of whom would have left strong emotional imprints. Colonial patrons, sailors, and locals spent hours drinking, dining, and conversing, forming routines and habits that were repeated day after day. Some theorists suggest that this long history of human presence, coupled with the emotional intensity of moments spent within the tavern, may have left residual energy that manifests as shadowy figures, cold spots, and the subtle movement of objects. The taverna's age, combined with the layering of centuries of human activity, provides fertile ground for persistence of these paranormal echoes. Even organized evening tours and private events offer opportunities for unusual encounters. Guests have reported seeing shadowy figures seated at tables, hearing the scrape of chairs across the wooden floors, or feeling cold air brush past them unexpectedly. Some have sensed whispers or murmurs of conversation that cannot be explained, while others describe the impression of unseen eyes following their movements throughout the room. These experiences often occur simultaneously, producing a multi-sensory and immersive environment where history and the supernatural appear intertwined. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the White Horse Tavern continues to operate as a premier destination for dining and historical tourism. By day, It remains a vibrant gathering place where guests enjoy meals, drinks, and a tangible connection to early American history. By night, however, the tavern transforms into a space where shadowy figures sit at tables, chairs scrape across the floor, and cold spots move unpredictably near the bar. Whether these experiences are the result of lingering spirits, residual energy, or heightened awareness in a quiet and historic environment, they remain a defining feature of the Taverna's mystique. For those willing to visit during evening tours or attend late events, the experiences are unforgettable. The sight of spectral patrons, the subtle movement of chairs, and the chilling cold combine to create an atmosphere that is haunting, atmospheric, and steeped in history. The White Horse Tavern stands as a testament to centuries of human activity, the enduring echoes of the past, and the ways in which history and the unexplained can intersect in quiet, lingering ways. The Queen Mary, permanently docked in Long Beach, California, is a historic ocean liner-turned-hotel and restaurant, renowned for its luxurious interiors, storied past, and a reputation as one of the most haunted ships in the world. By day, the Queen Maria's restaurant welcomes visitors to experience fine dining amidst a grandeur of polished wood, brass fixtures, and vintage copyright soar reminiscent of its golden era of transatlantic voyages. Guests enjoy seafood and classic dishes, while absorbing the ambience of a ship that once ferried royalty, celebrities, and ordinary travelers across the Atlantic. Yet as night falls and the bustling daytime activity fades, the restaurant and the ship itself has been reported to transform into a place where history, mystery, and the paranormal intersect, creating unforgettable experiences for those who linger. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves ghostly crew members serving phantom drinks. Guests have recounted seeing shadowy figures dressed in vintage naval uniforms moving through the restaurant. Some diners have described witnessing a glass or a cup seemingly float from one table to another, disappearing in the process, or glimpsing a figure bending over a table only to vanish when observed directly. Staff members working late hours have also reported the sensation of being followed by unseen presences, with faint murmurs of activity echoing from corners of the restaurant long after closing. The presence of these ghostly crew members suggests that echoes of the ship's past continue to interact with the living, maintaining the routines of a once thriving dining hall. Apparitions walking through walls are another hallmark of the Queen Maria's haunted reputation. Patrons and staff have described seeing figures emerge from solid surfaces, appearing suddenly in hallways or restaurant corridors, only to pass through doors, walls, or structural pillars as if they were insubstantial. These experiences often leave witnesses momentarily stunned, as the figures move with purpose yet leave no physical trace. Some report glimpsing individuals dressed in early 20th century attire, including waitstaff or officers, who seem to glide silently across the room. In certain cases, diners have observed these apparitions from a distance, noticing their faint outlines along with the subtle shifting of shadows on polished floors or walls, adding to the unsettling sense that the ship itself retains memories of its past. Strange lights flickering in empty rooms add another eerie layer to the Queen Maria's paranormal activity. Guests have noticed sudden flashes or dim glows emanating from unused dining areas, hallways, or adjacent rooms. Even when all electrical systems are confirmed to be off, the flickers often appear in rhythmic patterns, or as if following the movement of an unseen entity, casting dancing shadows across walls and ceilings. Some visitors have reported the lights appearing near locations associated with historical events on the ship, such as former crew quarters, old kitchens, or areas where passengers once gathered. Combined with ghostly figures and phantom activity, these lights contribute to a hauntingly immersive experience, leaving diners with the impression that the ship itself is alive with residual energy. Certain areas of the Queen Maria's restaurant are particularly associated with these phenomena. Sections near windows overlooking the harbor, corners tucked beneath ornate railings, and areas that retain original features of the ship's early design are often cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses report sudden drops in temperature, an uncanny feeling of being watched, and subtle movements of furniture or table settings. Even sounds, such as soft footsteps or the distant clatter of dishes, have been reported when the restaurant is otherwise empty. These occurrences collectively create an atmosphere where the ordinary act of dining intersects with the extraordinary presence of the Shepa-S history and its lingering spirits. The Queen Maria-S long and storied past may help explain these experiences. Launched in 1934, the ship served as a luxury ocean liner before being converted into a troop ship during World War II, and later returning to commercial service. Thousands of passengers and crew members traversed its decks over the decades, many forming emotional connections to the ship and its daily routines. Some theorists suggest that the intensity of life aboard the Queen Mary, coupled with moments of tragedy, stress, and joy, may have left residual energy that manifests as ghostly figures, phantom movements, and flickering lights. The restaurant, as a central hub of social activity on the ship, may be particularly attuned to these lingering impressions. Even organized evening events or private dinners have produced unusual encounters. Guests report seeing ghostly crew members glide between tables, noticing apparitions emerge from walls, or feeling a sudden cold draft sweep through the room. Some diners describe lights flickering in rhythmic patterns, casting shadows that seem to move independently of any physical object. These experiences are often brief yet memorable, leaving an indelible impression of the Queen Mary's otherworldly ambience. Despite these reports of paranormal activity, the Queen Maria-S restaurant continues to operate as a premier dining destination, attracting visitors from around the world. By day, it remains a lively space where history, cuisine, and luxury converge. By night, it transforms into a place where ghostly crew members attend to invisible guests, apparitions walk through walls, and mysterious lights flicker in empty rooms. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, spirits of the past, or heightened perception in a quiet and historic setting, they have become an enduring part of the Shepa-S allure. For those willing to experience the Queen Mary after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. The vision of ghostly figures, phantom activity, and flickering lights combines to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Queen Maria-S restaurant stands as a testament to maritime history, human presence, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to glide silently through its halls, offering guests a rare glimpse into a world where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. The Spaghetti Warehouse in Dallas, Texas, is more than just a restaurant. It is a piece of local history. Housed in a renovated warehouse with exposed brick walls, vintage copyright silverware, and antique furnishings, the restaurant offers diners a unique blend of classic Italian cuisine and a charming, old-world atmosphere. By day, the dining room is filled with the clatter of plates, the hum of conversation, and the aromas of pasta, sauces, and fresh bread. Guests enjoy the lively ambience, savoring familiar comfort foods while soaking in the character of a space that reflects the Lhasa-S rich past. Yet when the evening crowd departs and the lights are dimmed, the restaurant reportedly takes on a far more mysterious persona, one that has given rise to a variety of paranormal reports from staff and visitors alike. One of the most frequently reported experiences involves ghostly diners seated at tables. Staff working late shifts or after-hours cleaning crews have described seeing figures sitting in booths, quietly eating, conversing, or simply watching the room. These apparitions often appear in peripheral vision, disappearing when never directly observed. Guests who have attended private evening tours or special events report catching fleeting glimpses of these spectral patrons, sometimes hearing the faint clinking of silverware or the soft murmur of conversation, only to find the tables empty when they turn to look. Witnesses describe the figures as faint and ethereal, often indistinct, yet unmistakably human, as if echoes of the restaurant's past clientele continue to linger within the space. Unexplained chair movement is another hallmark of the Spaghetti Warehouse-S haunting. Staff have reported chairs sliding slightly away from tables without explanation, or moving as though an invisible diner has risen or shifted positions. During the quiet of closing hours, the faint scraping of chairs across the wooden floors can be heard, sometimes accompanied by the creaking of floorboards or the subtle shifting of table settings. Guests who dine during late-night events have occasionally witnessed chairs rocking gently, even in the absence of any physical disturbance. These subtle yet consistent phenomena reinforce the impression that the restaurant remains alive with unseen activity, its past patrons and staff continuing routines invisible to the living. Faint voices of laughter and conversation are also commonly reported when the restaurant is empty. Staff working late have described hearing soft laughter drifting across the dining room, or indistinct murmurs that sound like groups of diners engage in friendly conversation. Guests on private tours report a similar experience, noting that the voices seem to echo naturally through the room, rising and falling as if in real-time interaction, yet with no source. The combination of auditory and visual phenomena creates an immersive, haunting atmosphere, where the ordinary quiet of the empty restaurant is punctuated by traces of life that once filled the space. Certain areas of the spaghetti warehouse appear to be particularly active. Booths along exposed brick walls, corners near antique furnishings, and sections that retain elements of the Bodinga-esque original warehouse design are often cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses report sudden drops in temperature, a sense of being observed, and the subtle impression of movement nearby. Even small objects, such as condiments, menus, or silverware, are occasionally found displaced from their usual positions. The combination of auditory, visual, and tactile experiences creates a distinct impression that the restaurant, long after the last guest has left, remains. The history of the building may help explain these reports. Originally constructed as a warehouse, the space has hosted countless people over decades. Employees, visitors, and diners. Many staff members form strong attachments to their work. Patrons have left lasting impressions as well. Some theorists suggest that the energy, emotion, and human presence accumulated over decades could leave residual impressions, manifest as ghostly figures, moving chairs, or faint voices. The blending of historical context with human activity may create conditions in which the ordinary and the paranormal intersect, even during organized evening events or late-night visits. Unusual experiences continue to be reported. Guests have described shadowy diners, the subtle movement of chairs, and sudden cold spots in otherwise still rooms. Voices of laughter or conversation have been heard drifting across empty tables, reinforcing the impression that the restaurant is alive with unseen presence. These encounters are often brief but memorable, leaving a lingering sense of the past permeating the space long after visitors depart. Despite these reports of paranormal activity, the Spaghetti Warehouse continues to operate as a lively and popular dining destination. By day, it is a bustling restaurant where diners enjoy meals, conversation, and a rich sense of history. By night, it becomes a place where ghostly diners appear in empty booths. Chairs move without explanation, and laughter and conversation echo through deserted corridors. Whether these phenomena result from lingering spirits, residual energy, or the heightened perception that comes with quiet and solitude, they have become an enduring part of the restaurant-esque lore. For those willing to experience the Spaghetti Warehouse after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. The sight of ghostly figures, the subtle scraping of chairs, and the drifting sounds of laughter and conversation combine to create an atmosphere that is haunting, immersive, and uniquely tied to the Bodinga-esque history. The Spaghetti Warehouse in Dallas stands as a place where the ordinary act of dining intersects with the extraordinary presence of the past, offering visitors a glimpse into a world where the living and the lingering echoes of history coexist. The Driscoll Hotel in Austin, Texas, is an iconic landmark, renowned for its grand architecture, rich history, and elegant atmosphere. Built in the late 19th century, it has hosted politicians, celebrities, and travelers from around the world. Among its many features, the hotel-esque restaurant stands out as a refined dining space, offering guests a combination of historic charm and sophisticated cuisine. By day, the restaurant is filled with the clinking of silverware, the hum of conversation, and the aromas of carefully prepared dishes. Waitstaff move briskly between tables, attending to patrons, while the ambience reflects the elegance and history of the establishment. Yet as night falls and the last diners leave, The Driscoll Hotel restaurant reportedly transforms into a space where the ordinary routines of dining are overshadowed by the extraordinary, giving rise to numerous accounts of paranormal activity that have intrigued both staff and visitors. One of the most commonly reported phenomena involves ghostly children running through the dining area. Staff working late shifts or during after-hours cleaning have described hearing the sounds of small feet tapping across the floor, accompanied by faint laughter. Witnesses report catching glimpses of small, shadowy figures darting between tables or along the edges of the room. These figures are often fleeting, vanishing when directly observed, yet the sounds of their activity linger, creating an unsettling sense of movement in otherwise empty spaces. Guests on private evening tours have also recounted hearing giggles and soft footsteps, leaving them momentarily convinced that the restaurant is filled with unseen children playing just out of sight. Apparitions of former diners are another hallmark of the Driscoll Hotel Restaurant's haunting. Staff and visitors alike have described seeing translucent figures seated at tables, sometimes raising silverware to their mouths, appearing to enjoy meals that are no longer present. These apparitions are often observed in peripheral vision, disappearing, giving the impression of fleeting echoes from a bygone era. Some diners on evening tours have reported seeing couples conversing silently at tables, or individuals sitting alone, staring into empty air. The figures are often dressed in period attire, reflecting the long history of the hotel and its patrons, and their presence creates a surreal experience, blurring the boundaries between the past and present. Phantom footsteps are also frequently reported throughout the restaurant. Staff working late have recounted hearing the rhythmic echo of someone walking across wooden floors, pacing between tables, or moving along corridors. The footsteps are often distinct and deliberate, yet no person is present, leaving a sense of mystery and unease. Guests attending private events after hours have similarly reported hearing these echoes, sometimes accompanied by the subtle creak of chairs or the soft clatter of dishes. The combination of auditory and visual phenomena heightens the sensation that the dining space is alive with the sensation that leaving witnesses with the atmosphere is leaving witnesses with the sensation that 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 leaving witnesses. Certain areas of the Driscoll Hotel restaurant appear particularly active. Corners near large windows, sections under ornate wooden beams, and booths along the edges of the dining room are often cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Staff have reported sudden drops in temperature, the sensation of being watched, and the subtle movement of objects such as menus or utensils. Even the soft rustle of tablecloths or the shift of chairs can create a haunting impression when the room is otherwise quiet. These occurrences collectively contribute to an atmosphere in which the historic charm of the restaurant is intertwined with the unexplained presence of lingering spirits. The history of the Driscoll Hotel may provide insight into these experiences. Since its opening, the hotel has hosted thousands of guests, many of whom formed emotional connections to the building and its spaces. Staff over the decades have dedicated countless hours to maintaining the hotel and providing attentive service to diners, often developing deep attachments to both the guests and the environment. Some theorists suggest that the energy, emotion, and human presence accumulated over the decades may leave residual impressions that manifest as ghostly children, phantom diners, or echoes of footsteps. The combination of historical significance, human activity, and emotional intensity creates a setting ripe for lingering energy. Even organized evening tours or private dinners have yielded unusual encounters. Guests have reported seeing shadowy children running across the floor, witnessing apparitions seated at tables, or hearing the rhythmic echo of phantom footsteps. Some describe a cold draft moving unexpectedly through the room, coinciding with the sight of a figure or the sound of movement. These experiences are often brief but leave a lasting impression, creating a memorable and immersive experience of the hotel's unique atmosphere. Despite these reports of paranormal activity, the Driscoll Hotel restaurant continues to operate as a premier destination for dining in Austin. By day, it is a vibrant space where guests enjoy meals, conversation, and the elegance of a historic setting. By night, however, it becomes a realm where ghostly children run unseen, former diners reappear at empty tables, and phantom footsteps echo through the wooden floors. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, spirits of the past, or the heightened awareness that comes with solitude and quiet, they remain a defining feature of the restaurant's mystique. For those willing to visit during evening tours or after-hours events, the experiences are unforgettable. The sight of spectral children, and the presence of ghostly diners, and the echoing footsteps combine to create a haunting, immersive atmosphere. The Driscoll Hotel restaurant stands as a testament to Austina's history, the human presence that has shaped it, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to move through its spaces. The Congress Hall Tavern in Cape May, New Jersey, is a historic establishment that has welcomed travelers, locals, and dignitaries for over 2 centuries. Known for its classic architecture, warm interiors, and inviting dining atmosphere, the tavern offers guests a chance to enjoy hearty meals and coastal cuisine while surrounded by the charm of the past. By day, the dining room is lively with conversation, the clatter of cutlery, and the aromas of carefully prepared dishes. Servers move efficiently between tables, attending to guests, while the historic setting provides a sense of connection to the generations who have dined within its walls. Yet when the sun sets and the tavern quiets, a different energy reportedly takes hold of one that many have described as distinctly supernatural. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves shadowy figures moving between tables. Guests attending evening events or late-night tours have recounted seeing dark silhouettes glide silently along aisles, sometimes pausing near tables as if observing diners who are no longer there. Staff members have described catching glimpses of figures out of the corner of their eyes, only to turn and find empty space. The movement of these shadows is often deliberate and fluid, giving the impression of ghostly patrons who continue to traverse the tavern even after its human occupants have departed. The fleeting glimpses leave witnesses with a sense of being watched, a subtle awareness that the history of the tavern is present in the very air they breathe. Unexplained sounds of clinking glasses are another hallmark of the taverna's haunting. Guests have reported hearing the faint but distinct sound of glassware striking against surfaces, sometimes accompanied by the gentle hum of conversation or laughter. Servers working late shifts have similarly described hearing the tinkle of cups or the soft scrape of utensils being set upon tables. These auditory experiences are often accompanied by a tangible sense of presence, as if the taverna's long-departed patrons are continuing their meals and social interactions, unseen but audible. The combination of these subtle sounds with visual phenomena creates a layered experience, blurring the line between past and present. With visual phenomena creates a layered experience. Blurring the line between past and present creates a layered experience. With visual phenomena creates a layered experience, blurring the line between past and present. Blurring the line between past and present with visual phenomena creates a layered experience. Blurring the line between past and present with visual phenomena creates a layered experience, blurring the line between past and present. Ghostly patrons seated at unused booths are also commonly reported. Witnesses have described seeing figures occupying corners or booths that are otherwise unprepared for service. Some appear to be couples engaged in quiet conversation, while others are single diners staring intently at tables or into empty air. Some appear to be couples engaged in quiet conversation, while others are single diners staring intently at tables or into empty air. These apparitions are often dressed in period attire, reflecting the taverna's long history and the generations of patrons who once frequented it. Guests attending special evening tours have sometimes noted that the figures seem fully aware of their surroundings, looking toward observers before fading from sight. The presence of these spectral diners enhances the sense that Congress Hall Tavern is a place where time folds back on itself, allowing the past to intermingle with the present. Certain areas of the tavern appear particularly active. Corners near windows overlooking the street, booths tucked along the walls, and spaces that retain elements of the taverna's historic design are often cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Staff have reported sudden drops in temperature, a feeling of being followed, or a subtle pressure in the air as if someone were standing close by. Small objects, such as menus, silverware, or condiment containers, have been noted to shift slightly without explanation. Even the faint rustle of a tablecloth or the movement of shadows cast by candlelight can create a sense that the tavern is alive with unseen presence. The history of the Congress Hall Tavern may help explain these reports. For over 2 centuries, countless guests, employees, and locals have passed through its doors, leaving behind impressions of their presence. Some theorists suggest that the strong emotional energy, routine interactions, and repeated human activity within the tavern could leave residual imprints that manifest as ghostly figures, phantom sounds, and fleeting movements. The building itself, with its aged wood, brickwork, and carefully preserved features, may serve as a conduit for these lingering energies, preserving echoes of the past in a way that feels both subtle and tangible. Even during organized tours or special events after hours, unusual encounters continue to be reported. Guests have described shadowy figures gliding along aisles, hearing the clinking of glasses where no one sits, and seeing patrons occupy booths that were never used. Some report cold drafts or sensations of presence coinciding with these occurrences, heightening the immersive experience. These moments, though brief, leave lasting impressions on those who witness them, creating a memorable and sometimes unnerving connection to the taverna's long history. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the Congress Hall Tavern continues to operate as a beloved dining destination. By day, it is a lively and welcoming space where guests enjoy meals, conversation, and the charm of historic Cape May. By night, however, it becomes a place where shadowy figures move between tables, ghostly patrons occupy unused booths, and the clinking of glasses echoes through empty halls. Whether these phenomena are residual energy, spirits of the past, or heightened perception in quiet, historic spaces, they remain an integral part of the taverna's lore. For those willing to explore the Congress Hall Tavern during evening tours or after-hours events, the experiences are unforgettable. The sight of shadowy figures and the presence of unseen diners combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Congress Hall Tavern stands as a testament to the enduring history of Cape May, the lives that have passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces. The 21 Club in New York City is more than just an iconic restaurant. It is a storied landmark, steeped in history, glamour, and whispers of the city's Prohibition-era past. Established in the 1920s, the 21 Club became a haven for high-profile guests, celebrities, politicians, and figures tied to organized crime. Its walls have witnessed decades of clandestine deals, lively banter, and the clinking of glasses amid an atmosphere of elegance and secrecy. By day, the restaurant thrives as a refined dining destination with polished wood, vintage copyright COR, and meticulously arranged tables offering guests a sense of luxury and tradition. Waitstaff move efficiently between tables, attending to diners enjoying classic American cuisine, while the ambience captures the sophistication of the club's legendary past. Yet when the restaurant closes its doors and the bustling crowds depart, many have reported that the 21 Club transforms into a space where history, mystery, and the paranormal converge. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves chairs moving on their own. Staff who remain late or work during after-hours maintenance shifts have described witnessing chairs shifting slightly from tables, sometimes as if an invisible diner had just risen. In some instances, chairs are found out of alignment or gently rocking, despite no physical interference. Guests attending private evening tours have occasionally observed similar occurrences, hearing the subtle scrape of wooden legs against the floor when no one else is present. These movements are often slow, deliberate, and unnerving, creating the impression that former patrons continue to occupy the space, repeating routines long after the restaurant is emptied. Cold drafts passing through booths are another hallmark of the 21 Club's haunted reputation. Patrons seated near corners or along the edges of the dining room have reported sudden drops in temperature that are both localized and inexplicable. Staff working late often feel a chill sweeping over them as they move between tables or walk down aisles, sometimes accompanied by the sense of being watched. These cold spots are particularly pronounced near areas once associated with prominent guests or historic events. Some have described the air growing icy near certain booths while the rest of the room remains warm, leaving an impression that a ghostly presence has settled momentarily in the space. Ghostly figures appearing behind the bar add yet another layer to the restaurant's mysterious aura. Staff and visitors alike have reported seeing faint human shapes moving through the area behind the counter, as if attending to duties that were once theirs. In some cases, the apparitions appear dressed in attire from the Prohibition-era waitstaff, bartenders, or even suited guests, moving silently and vanishing when looked at directly. Guests on after-hours tours have recounted watching these figures pour phantom drinks or rearrange bottles, only to find no one present when they investigate. These sightings, often subtle and fleeting, suggest certain areas of the 21 Club are particularly active. Booths along the back walls, corners near the entrance, and spaces adjacent to bar are commonly cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Staff have reported subtle shifts in objects, faint footsteps, or the sensation of an unseen presence hovering nearby. Patrons have described hearing whispers or muted conversation from empty booths, the sound of clinking glasses without a source, and fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures in mirrors or at the edges of their vision. Even small, everyday occurrences, such as a napkin sliding slightly across a table, such as a glass tilting on its own, contribute to a cumulative sense that the restaurant is still being used, albeit by invisible patrons. The history of the 21 Club helps to contextualize these experiences. Throughout the decades, countless employees, diners, and figures connected to organized crime passed through its doors, many leaving lasting impressions on the space. From the clandestine activities of Prohibition-era bootleggers to the high society gatherings of celebrities and politicians, the emotional energy and intensity of human activity within the restaurant may have left residual imprints. These echoes of the past could manifest as ghostly figures, moving chairs, or sudden cold spots, particularly in spaces where the activity was historically concentrated. The building itself, with its aged architecture and historic fixtures, may serve as a conduit for these lingering energies, preserving fragments of history in ways that feel both subtle and tangible. Even organized evening tours or private after-hours events have produced unusual encounters. Visitors report seeing chairs shift without explanation, feeling cold drafts sweep through empty booths, or witnessing ghostly figures appear briefly behind the bar. Some describe hearing faint laughter, muted conversation, or the clink of glassware that seems to emanate from nowhere. These experiences, though often fleeting, leave a lasting impression, creating an immersive atmosphere where the history of the 21 Club feels present in both tangible and intangible ways. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the 21 Club continues to operate as a premier dining destination in New York City. By day, it remains a bustling and vibrant space where guests enjoy fine cuisine, attentive service, and a legacy of a legendary establishment. By night, however, it transforms into a realm where ghostly patrons appear at empty tables, chairs move on their own, and cold drafts sweep through booths. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, the presence of spirits from the past, or heightened awareness in historic spaces. They have become a defining feature of the restaurant-esque mystique. For those willing to experience the 21 Club after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. The sight of ghostly figures, the subtle movement of furniture, and the sensation of cold drafts combine to create a haunting, immersive atmosphere. The 21 Club stands as a testament to New York's storied past, the presence of those who shaped it, and the lingering echoes of history that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering guests a rare glimpse into a world where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. The Brown Palace Hotel in Denver, Colorado, is a historic landmark known for its elegant architecture, luxurious accommodations, and storied past. Opened in 1892, the hotel has long been a gathering place for politicians, celebrities, and travelers seeking refined comfort in the heart of the city. Among its many attractions is the Ship Tavern, a unique dining space renowned for its rich wood interiors, nautical-themed copyright COR, and intimate ambience. By day, the tavern is bustling with diners enjoying classic American fare, the low hum of conversation, and the clinking of glasses and silverware. Guests marvel at the combination of history and sophistication, surrounded by stained glass, polished wood, and vintage nautical accents. Yet, when night falls and the last patrons leave, the Ship Tavern reportedly transforms into a space imbued with eerie presence, where visitors and staff alike have experienced phenomena that defy explanation. One of the most frequently reported occurrences involves phantom footsteps echoing along the floor. Guests and staff have described hearing the rhythmic sound of someone walking to the tavern when no one is present. These footsteps often seem to follow a specific path, pacing along aisles, weaving between tables, or approaching booths before fading into silence. Witnesses report that the sounds are remarkably realistic, with the weight and cadence of a human stride, yet attempt to locate the source reveal only empty rooms. Late-night cleaning crews and after-hour staff frequently recount these experiences, noting that the footsteps sometimes seem to circle the room, or move in patterns that suggest a purposeful presence. Shadowy figures in corners are another hallmark of the Ship Tavern's haunted reputation. Guests have reported seeing dark silhouettes lingering in less frequented areas, often near booths or along the edges of the tavern. These figures are typically human in shape, but lack distinct features, appearing as fleeting forms at the periphery of vision. Staff members working late shifts describe moments when they glance toward a corner and catch the impression of someone standing silently, only for the space to be empty when looked at directly. Tour groups attending evening events have occasionally experienced the same phenomenon, noting that the shadows seem to move subtly or even track their movement across the room. The presence of these figures adds to the immersive sense that the tavern is not entirely empty, even when the lights are dimmed and the last patrons have departed. Cold spots moving unpredictably throughout the tavern are yet another common phenomenon. Patrons seated during private evening events or staff working late have reported sudden, inexplicable drops in temperature that appear in localized areas, often following them as they move. These cold spots can occur near tables, along aisles, or adjacent to corners, creating a sensation of being observed or accompanied. Some witnesses describe feeling a chill sweep over them while simultaneously hearing subtle noises, such as the rustle of chairs or faint whispers, reinforcing the impression of an unseen presence interacting with the environment. Some witnesses describe feeling a chill sweep over them while simultaneously hearing subtle noises, such as the rustle of chairs or faint whispers, reinforcing the impression of an unseen presence interacting with the environment. The unpredictability of the cold spots enhances the sense of mystery, leaving those who experience them unsure what is natural and what is extraordinary. Certain areas of the Ship Tavern appear particularly active. Booths along walls, corners beneath stained glass, and spaces near the nautical copyright store are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Staff and guests alike have reported subtle movements of objects, such as menus shifting slightly or glasses being displaced without explanation. Even the faint creak of floorboards or the soft clatter of a chair can create the impression of life where there should be none. The combination of auditory, visual, and tactile phenomena produces an environment that is both historically rich and eerily alive. where the ordinary act of dining intersects with the presence of something unseen. The history of the Brown Palace Hotel provides context for these experiences. Over more than a century, countless guests, employees, and visitors have passed through its doors, leaving behind emotional impressions and energy. Politicians, business people, and families have dined, celebrated, and socialized in the Ship Tavern, often leaving intense human energy in the space. Some theorists suggest that this energy can persist, manifesting as residual impressions that produce phantom footsteps, shadowy figures, and cold spots. The architecture of the building, with its rich wood, high ceilings, and enclosed spaces, may amplify these effects, preserving echoes of the past in a way that is both subtle and tangible. Even during organized evening tours or private events, unusual encounters continue to be reported. Guests have described hearing footsteps pacing through the room, noticing fleeting shadows in corners, or experiencing sudden cold drafts. Some report a feeling of being watched or accompanied, as though the energy of former patrons and staff still occupies the space alongside the living. These moments, though brief, leave a lasting impression, creating a memorable and immersive experience that blends the historical elegance of the Ship Tavern with the lingering presence of the past. These moments, though brief, leave a lasting impression, creating a memorable and immersive experience that blends the historical elegance of the Ship Tavern with the lingering presence of the past. Despite these accounts of paranormal activity, the Ship Tavern remains a vibrant and popular dining destination in Denver. By day, it welcomes diners with fine cuisine, attentive service, and the charm of a historic setting. By night, however, it becomes a place where phantom footsteps echo along the floor, shadowy figures linger in corners, and cold spots move unpredictably through the room. Whether these phenomena are residual energy, the lingering presence of spirits, or heightened perception in a quiet historic space, they have become an enduring part of the Taverna's character and mystique. For those willing to explore the Ship Tavern during evening tours or after-hours visits, the encounters are unforgettable. The sensation of unseen footsteps, shadowy presences, and drifting cold combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Brown Palace Hotel's Ship Tavern stands as a testament to Denver's history, the lives that have passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to move silently through its spaces. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, is a landmark of history, elegance, and ghostly legend. Built in the early 20th century, the hotel is renowned for its grand architecture, sweeping mountain views, and storied past, including its infamous inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining. Among its many historic spaces, the Timberline Room stands out as a dining area filled with old-world charm, polished with interiors, and atmosphere that captures both sophistication and nostalgia. By day, the Timberline Room welcomes guests with the clinking of silverware, the hum of conversation, and the aroma of gourmet dishes prepared with care. By day, the Timberline Room welcomes guests with the clinking of silverware, the hum of conversation, and the aroma of gourmet dishes prepared with care. Waitstaff move briskly between tables, serving patrons who admire the panoramic views and historic copyrights OR. Yet when the dining room empties and the lights dim, many visitors and staff have reported experiences that hint at an invisible presence lingering within the room, making the Timberline Room one of the most haunted areas of the Stanley Hotel. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves phantom plates moving across tables. Guests on evening tours, as well as staff working late shifts, have described seeing plates and dishes glide slowly along the surface of tables, as if an unseen diner were rearranging their meal. Some have noticed silverware sliding in unison, seemingly pushed by invisible hands. These movements are subtle but distinct, creating a disorienting sensation for anyone witnessing them. Visitors have recounted reaching for a plate only to find it shifted slightly from its original position, with no explanation for the movement. The experience leaves an impression that the room is still, actively inhabited by diners from the past, silently continuing routines that began decades ago. Chairs shifting by themselves are another hallmark of the Timberline Room's haunted reputation. Staff members and guests alike have reported chairs moving slightly, rocking back and forth, or tilting away from tables with no human intervention. During after-hours cleaning or private evening events, witnesses have observed the subtle movement of furniture, sometimes accompanied by the soft creak of wooden floors. Guests attending private tours have also described the sensation of a chair being nudged as they approach a table, adding to the feeling that invisible hands are present in the room. These occurrences, though often brief, reinforce the impression that the dining area is alive with unseen energy, preserving the habits of long-gone staff and diners. Cold spots following visitors are yet another common phenomenon in the Timberline Room. Patrons have reported sudden drops in temperature that seem to move along with them, brushing past shoulders or trailing their steps as they navigate the dining area. Staff working late shifts have described the sensation of an unseen presence walking beside them, accompanied by an inexplicable chill. These cold drafts often appear near areas of historic activity, such as corners along windows, booths tucked beneath decorative woodwork, or near the main dining tables. Witnesses frequently report a sense of being observed. The sense of being observed intensifies the overall atmosphere of unease and wonder. Certain areas of the Timberline Room appear particularly active. Booths along walls with scenic views have been cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Corners beneath ornate wooden beams are also reported to be haunted. Some visitors have experienced multiple phenomena simultaneously. This has included plates moving while a cold spot drifts across the room, a chair shifting while faint sounds of footsteps echo nearby. Even the faint clatter of utensils or the subtle shifting of napkins can contribute to the feeling that the room is still occupied by invisible diners and staff who continue their routines long after closing hours. The history of the Stanley Hotel helps to contextualize these experiences. For over a century, countless guests, employees, and visitors have passed through the Timberline Room, leaving emotional and energetic impressions that may persist over time. From lavish banquets to intimate dinners, the space has been a backdrop for human activity intense enough to imprint upon the environment. Some paranormal theorists suggest that such emotional and energetic residue can manifest as moving objects, shadowy figures, or fluctuating temperatures, creating the ghostly phenomena reported by staff and visitors alike. The age, materials, and historic architecture of the Timberline Room may, even during organized evening tours or private events, unusual experiences continue to be reported. Guests have described seeing plates glide across tables, chairs shifting independently, or cold drafts trailing along their movements. Some witnesses report the faint sounds of footsteps, low murmurs, or the impression of invisible figures standing nearby. These encounters, though often brief, leave a lasting impression and create a uniquely immersive experience that combines historical charm with the supernatural. Despite these reports of paranormal activity, the Timberline Room remains a celebrated dining destination. By day, it offers an elegant setting for meals, conversation, and scenic views. By night, it becomes a place where ghostly diners continue their routines, phantom staff move invisibly through the space, and cold spots follow visitors as they navigate the room. Whether these phenomena are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a quiet, historic environment, they remain an integral part of the room-esque mystique. For those willing to experience the Timberline Room after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. The movement of plates, shifting chairs, and drifting coal combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Stanley Hotel-esque Timberline Room stands as a testament to history, human presence, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit the space, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. The old Absinthe House in New Orleans, Louisiana, is a storied establishment with a rich history dating back to the early 19th century. Located in the heart of the French Quarter, it has long been a gathering place for locals, travelers, writers, and artists, drawn to the city's unique blend of culture, music, and mystique. The bar-esque interiors, with its exposed brick walls, vintage mirrors, and ornate woodwork, reflect the charm of old New Orleans, while its long history as a social hub adds layers of intrigue. By day, the bar hums with life, patrons laughing and conversing over classic cocktails, the air filled with the scent of absinthe, bitters, and spirits. Yet, when the crowds dissipate and the lights dim, the old absinthe house reportedly transforms into a space where history lingers in unexpected ways, giving rise to a variety of paranormal phenomena that have intrigued visitors for decades. One of the most frequently reported occurrences involves shadowy patrons. Visitors and staff alike have described fleeting figures seated along the counter, as if enjoying drinks long after closing. These apparitions are often indistinct, observed from the corner of the eye, and vanish when looked at directly. Some witnesses report seeing figures turning slightly, raising glasses, or gesturing in conversation, only to find the bar empty moments later. Staff members working late or during private evening events have also recounted these sightings, noting that the shadows seem to move naturally as if continuing the routines of past patrons. The presence of these spectral figures creates an uncanny sensation, leaving an impression that the bar is still alive with invisible company. Ghostly whispers in empty rooms are another hallmark of the old absinthe house's haunting. Guests have reported hearing faint murmurs, snippets of conversation, or hushed laughter emanating from corners or from the direction of the bar, even when no one else is present. Staff working late hours often describe a sudden sense of being observed, followed by whispers that seem to flow around the room, moving from one area to another with no apparent source. Visitors on guided evening tours have similarly noted hearing these mysterious sounds, often accompanied by the faint creak of floorboards or the distant tapping of glassware. The whispers are subtle yet persistent, creating an immersive sense of the past that continues to interact with the living space. Phantom glasses clinking when no one is near is another frequently cited phenomenon. Staff members and visitors alike have reported the faint but distinct sound of glass striking glass, sometimes coming from the bar itself or from tables long cleared of drinkware. These sounds often appear at random intervals, echoing across the room, and are sometimes accompanied by the sensation of movement in the peripheral vision. Witnesses describe hearing a glass set down gently, as if placed by an unseen hand, or the faint jingle of a cocktail shaker that has long been emptied and stored. The combination of auditory and visual cues reinforces the impression that the old absinthe house remains a space of social activity, inhabited by spirits who continue to enjoy the bar long after the doors are closed. Certain areas of the bar appear particularly active. The main counter, corners beneath vintage mirrors, and alcoves along the walls are often cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Staff have reported sudden drops in temperature, subtle shifts in the air, or the sensation of being brushed by an unseen presence. Patrons visiting during quieter hours or after-hours tours have noted that objects like napkins, coasters, or small glasses occasionally move without explanation. Even the gentle sway of hanging lights or reflections in mirrors can enhance the sense of another presence inhabiting the space. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile experiences contributes to an atmosphere that is both historically rich and eerily alive. The old absinthe house's long history helps to explain some of these reports. Over nearly 2 centuries, countless individuals have passed through its doors, leaving behind emotional impressions and energy. Writers, musicians, tourists, and locals have celebrated, commiserated, and socialized in its spaces. And the intensity of human activity may have left residual energy that manifests as ghostly patrons, whispers, or clinking glassware. The bar's age, architectural features, and dense historical significance may further amplify these lingering effects, preserving echoes of the past in ways that feel tangible to the present. Even during organized evening events or private tours, unusual encounters continue to occur. Guests have described shadowy figures at the bar, whispers that drift through empty rooms, and the subtle clinking of glasses with no one in sight. Some report sudden cold drafts or an uncanny feeling of being observed, heightening the immersive experience. These encounters, though often brief, leave lasting impressions, creating a connection between the present visitors and the long history of those who came before. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the old absent house continues to operate as a lively and popular destination in New Orleans. By day, it remains a vibrant hub of conversation, music, and culture. By night, however, it becomes a place where ghostly patrons linger at the bar, whispers float through empty rooms, and glasses clink without explanation. Whether these phenomena are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened awareness in a historic space, they remain an enduring part of the bar as a lure and legend. For those willing to experience the old absent house during after-hours tours or quiet evenings, the encounters are unforgettable. Shadowy figures, ghostly whispers, and phantom sounds combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The old absent house stands as a testament to New Orleans' layered history, the lives that have passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. The White Dog Kaffa Copyright in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is a charming and historic restaurant, housed in a building that retains elements of Philadelphia's storied past. During the day, the White Dog Kaffa Copyright hums with the sounds of conversation, laughter, and the gentle clatter of cutlery. Guests enjoy the combination of culinary excellence and historic ambience, often remarking on the sense of character embedded within the walls. Yet when the Kaffa Copyright empties and the lights are dimmed, many staff and visitors have reported experiences that suggest an unseen presence lingers, giving the restaurant a hauntingly mysterious side. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves ghostly figures moving through the tables. Staff working late shifts or after-hours cleaning have described fleeting shapes gliding between booths or along aisles, often disappearing when directly observed. Guests attending evening tours or private dinners have occasionally reported seeing these figures at the edge of their vision, sometimes appearing to pause or glance toward them before vanishing. These apparitions are generally human in shape, though indistinct and ethereal, and they create a subtle sense that the Kaffa Copyright remains alive with activity even after patrons have departed. Some witnesses report the figures resembling former staff or diners from decades past, dressed in period attire, as the echoes of previous lives continue their routines in the quiet space. Objects shifting inexplicably is another hallmark of the White Dog Kaffa Copyright as haunting. Tables, chairs, menus, and even small utensils have been observed moving without explanation. Patrons visiting during quiet hours have sometimes felt the presence of invisible hands brushing against their belongings or noticed subtle changes in the arrangement of tables and chairs. These occurrences are generally subtle but consistent, adding a layer of mystery and unease to the dining experience when the Kaffa Copyright is empty. Cold spots appearing in empty dining areas further contribute to the Kaffa Copyright's eerie reputation. Employees have reported sudden drops in temperature in certain parts of the room, often following them as they move from table to table. Patrons on after-hours tours have described icy drafts that seem localized, appearing only in specific corners or along particular aisles, leaving the rest of the room unaffected. Some witnesses described the cold spots as brushing against them, creating a distinct sensation of being accompanied or observed by an unseen presence. These chilling experiences often coincide with the visual or auditory phenomena, reinforcing the impression that the White Dog Kaffa Copyright is a space where the past continues to inhabit the present. Certain areas of the Kaffa Copyright are particularly active, according to staff and visitors. Booths tucked against walls, corners near windows, and sections with ornate wooden accents are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses report simultaneous occurrences, chairs shifting as cold spots drift across the room, faint shadows gliding near tables while the air grows noticeably colder. Even the subtle rustle of tablecloths or the gentle clatter of utensils can create the impression of unseen diners or staff continuing their routines in the empty space. These layers of auditory, visual, and tactile phenomena create an immersive atmosphere, where the historic charm of the Kaffa Copyright is intertwined with a lingering, unexplained energy. The history of the White Dog Kaffa Copyright may help explain these experiences, Over decades, countless staff, diners, and visitors have passed through its doors, leaving emotional and energetic imprints on the space. Some paranormal theorists suggest that intense human activity can leave residual energy, which manifests as ghostly figures, moving objects, or localized cold spots. The architecture of the building, combined with its historic features, may further preserve these imprints, allowing traces of the past to manifest in ways that feel tangible to the living. Over decades, countless staff, diners, and visitors have passed through its doors, leaving emotional and energetic imprints on the space. Some paranormal theorists suggest that intense human activity can leave residual energy, which manifests as ghostly figures, moving objects, or localized cold spots. The architecture of the building, combined with its historic features, may further preserve these imprints, allowing traces of the past to manifest in ways that feel tangible to the living. Staff members, particularly those who have worked at the Kafka copyright for years, often note that the phenomena occur most frequently in areas where activity was historically concentrated, suggesting that human presence and routine may be a catalyst for lingering energy. Even during organized evening tours or private events, unusual experiences continue to be reported. Guests have described seeing shadowy figures glide along aisles, hearing the faint clatter of displaced objects, or feeling cold spots sweep past them unexpectedly. Some have reported subtle whispers, the creak of chairs, or the sensation of being watched while alone in the dining area. These encounters, though brief, leave a lasting impression, creating an immersive experience that connects the present to the rich history of the Kafka copyright and its patrons. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the White Dog Kafka copyright remains a thriving and popular dining destination. By day, it welcomes guests to enjoy fresh cuisine, warm service, and historic charm. By night, however, it becomes a place where ghostly figures glide between tables, objects shift mysteriously, and cold spots drift unpredictably across the room. Whether these phenomena are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in quiet, historic spaces, they remain an enduring part of the Kafka copyright AS lore. For those willing to explore the White Dog Kafka copyright after hours, the experiences are unforgettable. The movement of objects, the presence of shadowy figures, and drifting cold combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The White Dog Kafka copyright stands as a testament to Philadelphia's history, the lives that have passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where the boundaries of reality are blurred. The Menger Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, is a historic landmark known for its elegant architecture, rich history, and association with notable figures from American history. Established in 1859, the hotel has long been a gathering place of travelers, politicians, and dignitaries, offering luxurious accommodations and fine dining. Among its most famous features is the Menger Hotel restaurant, a space that combines classic Southern charm with the grandeur of a bygone era. By day, the restaurant is filled with the sounds of conversation, the clinking of silverware, and the aromas of expertly prepared meals. Guests enjoy the combination of history, atmosphere, and culinary excellence, often remarking on the sense of character that permeates the space. Yet as the evening settles in and the dining room empties, the Menger Hotel restaurant is said to transform into a place where the presence of the past lingers in ways both subtle and unsettling. One of the most commonly reported phenomena involves chairs scraping across the floor. Staff working late shifts or during after-hours cleaning have described the unmistakable sound of chairs being moved, sometimes as if an invisible diner had just risen from a table. Guests on private evening tours have also reported hearing these scraping sounds echoing along the wooden floors, often in areas that have been vacant for hours. The sound is typically slow and deliberate, creating the impression that former guests are quietly returning to their seats or preparing to leave even when the restaurant is empty. Witnesses often find the experience unnerving, as it blurs a boundary between the living and the lingering echoes of past visitors. Shadowy figures sitting at tables are another hallmark of the Menger Hotel Restaurant as haunting. Patrons and staff alike have described fleeting silhouettes occupying corners or booths, sometimes appearing as if engaged in conversation or quietly observing the room. These figures are often vague in shape, observe at the periphery of vision, and disappear when looked at directly. Some visitors attending evening tours have reported seeing the figures raise their hands, adjust a napkin, or appear to glance toward other patrons, only for the tables to be entirely empty moments later. These ghostly diners give the sense that the restaurant is never truly vacant, as the memories and presence of those who dined there long ago remain woven into the fabric of the space. Cold drafts and unoccupied sections add yet another layer of mystery. Staff and visitors have reported sudden drops in temperature in specific areas of the dining room. Patrons on after-hours tours have described cold air brushing their shoulders. These chilling sensations often occur near corners, booths tucked along walls, or sections with historic woodwork, adding to the sense that certain spots are more active than others. The unpredictability of these cold drafts amplifies the feeling of being in a space where unseen presences may be moving about. Certain areas of the restaurant appear particularly active, according to staff and guests. Booths along the back walls, corners beneath large windows, and spaces near antique copyright COR are often cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses report simultaneous occurrences, such as the scrape of a chair coinciding with a sudden cold spot, or the sight of a shadowy figure in a booth while the faint echo of conversation seems to drift through the room. Even small, subtle movements, like a napkin sliding slightly across a table or the gentle tilt of a chair, contribute to the sense that the restaurant is alive with the lingering presence of former guests and hotel patrons. The history of the Menger Hotel provides context for these reports. Over more than a century, countless individuals have passed through its doors, leaving impressions on the space that some theorists suggest may persist as residual energy. Guests of high social or political standing, families celebrating milestones, and everyday travelers all contributed to the emotional and human energy within the restaurant. Some paranormal researchers propose that these concentrated activities can leave lasting impressions, manifesting as ghostly figures, moving furniture, or cold spots. The architecture of the hotel, with its historic woodwork, high ceilings, and enclosed spaces, may preserve these imprints in ways that make them perceptible to the living. Even during guided evening tours or private after-hours events, unusual encounters continue. Visitors have reported chairs moving unexpectedly, shadowy figures appearing at tables, and cold drafts following them throughout the dining area. Some describe faint sounds of conversation or laughter, adding an auditory dimension to the visual and physical phenomena. These encounters, though brief, leave lasting impressions, immersing guests in the history and atmosphere of the Menger Hotel in a uniquely tangible way. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the Menger Hotel restaurant continues to operate as a distinguished dining destination. By day, it offers guests a refined atmosphere, exceptional cuisine, and a connection to the history of San Antonio. By night, however, it becomes a space where ghostly patrons may return to their tables. Chairs scrape across the floor without explanation, and cold drafts drift unpredictably through empty sections. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened awareness in historic spaces, they remain a defining element of the restaurant's mystique. For those willing to explore the Menger Hotel restaurant after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. The scraping chairs, shadowy figures, and drifting cold combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Menger Hotel stands as a testament to San Antonio's history, the lives of those who have passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. The French Quarter Creole restaurant in New Orleans, Louisiana, is a celebrated dining destination known for its rich history, vibrant atmosphere, and authentic Creole cuisine. Nestled in the heart of the French Quarter, the restaurant combines historic charm with culinary excellence, offering guests a taste of the city's storied past along with classic flavors. During the day, the dining room is alive with a hum of conversation, the clinking of silverware, and the aromas of spices, seafood, and slow-cooked meats. Servers move deftly between tables, attending to patrons eager to experience the traditional dishes and the warm ambience. Yet when the night falls and the last diners depart, many visitors and staff have reported experiences that suggest the French Quarter Creole restaurant is more than just a historic eateria. It is a space where the past lingers in subtle, sometimes unsettling ways. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves phantom patrons finishing meals. Guests attending evening tours or staff working late have described seeing figures seated at tables, quietly dining as though the restaurant were still full. In some cases, diners have reported witnessing empty plates move or shift, as if someone had just taken the last bite. The figures themselves are often indistinct, visible at the edge of vision, and vanish when directly observed. Staff members working after hours have similarly recounted seeing tables set as though ready for service, with plates appearing as if freshly used, yet finding no one present. These sightings give the impression that previous guests are continuing their routines, quietly completing meals long after the restaurant is closed. Cold gusts of wind in closed areas are another hallmark of the restaurant's haunted reputation. Patrons have reported sudden drops in temperature in corners, along aisles, or near booths, even when doors and windows remain firmly shut. Staff working late or performing after-hours cleaning have noted cold drafts brushing past them unexpectedly, often moving unpredictably throughout the dining room. Visitors attending evening tours describe the sensation as a tangible presence, a chill that seems to follow or drift alongside them as they navigate the restaurant. These gusts of cold air add a physical dimension to the haunting, creating the impression that unseen figures are moving through the space. Shadowy figures walking between tables further contribute to the restaurant's eerie atmosphere. Guests have described fleeting silhouettes gliding along aisles or weaving between booths, disappearing when approached. These figures are often humanoid in shape, but lack clear features, giving them an ethereal quality. Staff working late have reported catching glimpses of these shadows from a corner of their eyes, only to turn and find empty spaces. Some visitors attending guided evening tours have noted that the figures appear to move deliberately, sometimes pausing as if acknowledging the room or observing a particular area before fading from view. The presence of these shadows creates a sense that the French Quarter Creole restaurant is never truly empty, with remnants of the past quietly inhabiting its spaces. Certain areas of the restaurant appear particularly active, booths along the walls, corners beneath vintage lanterns, and sections near historic architectural details are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses have reported multiple phenomena occurring simultaneously, such as phantom patrons finishing meals while cold drafts sweep across the floor, or shadowy figures moving through areas where objects subtly shift on their own. Even small details, like the gentle sway of a hanging light or the faint rattle of silverware, can enhance the sense of unseen presence. These overlapping occurrences create a layered and immersive experience, blending the historic ambience with the sensation of lingering spirits. The rich history of the French Quarter provides context for these experiences. For over a century, countless visitors, employees, and locals have passed through the restaurant, leaving behind emotional and energetic imprints. Guests celebrating milestones, enjoying leisurely meals, or engaging in lively conversation may have left traces that persist in the space. Some paranormal theorists suggest that such concentrated human activity can manifest as residual energy, appearing as ghostly diners, shifting objects, or cold drafts. Guests celebrating milestones, enjoying leisurely meals, or engaging in lively conversation may have left traces that persist in the space. The architecture of the building, with its aged wood, enclosed corners, and historic design, may further preserve these impressions, allowing the past to subtly intersect with the present. Even during organized evening tours or private events, unusual encounters continue to be reported. Visitors have described tables set for diners who never appear, shadowy figures gliding between booths, sudden cold gusts in otherwise warm areas. Some witnesses also report faint murmurs, the sound of plates being set, or whispers that seem to emanate from nowhere. These moments, though brief, leave lasting impressions, creating a memorable and immersive connection to the Restaurant's history. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the French Quarter Creole restaurant remains a vibrant and beloved dining destination. By day, it offers guests authentic Creole cuisine, attentive service, and the rich ambience of the French Quarter. By night, it transforms into a space where phantom patrons finish meals. Cold gusts appear in closed corners, and shadowy figures glide between tables. Whether these experiences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a historic space, they remain an integral part of the restaurant as the lure and mystique. For those willing to explore the French Quarter Creole restaurant after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. Phantom diners drifting cold and moving shadows combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The restaurant stands as a testament to New Orleans' layered history, the lives of those who have passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering guests a rare glimpse into a world where history and the supernatural coexist. The Red Lion Inn in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, is a historic establishment, steeped in charm, elegance, and centuries of history. Established in 1773, the inn has long been a gathering place of travelers, artists, writers, and locals, seeking comfort, hospitality, and a taste of New England tradition. Its restaurant, with cozy booths, polished interiors, and antique copyright COR, evokes a sense of timelessness, inviting guests to relax and immerse themselves in the atmosphere. During the day, the Red Lion Inn is alive with the sounds of conversation, laughter, and the clinking of silverware as diners enjoy classic regional cuisine prepared with care. Wait staff move efficiently between tables, serving guests who come for both the food and the unique historical ambience. Diners enjoy classic regional cuisine prepared with care. Yet when the dining room empties and the lights dim, many visitors and staff have reported experiences that suggest the inn is not entirely empty, but rather a place where the echoes of the past remain vividly present. One of the most commonly reported phenomena involves ghostly diners seated at old booths. Patrons visiting the inn during evening tours or staff working late shifts have described seeing shadowy figures occupying tables, as though continuing meals that began decades ago. Some witnesses report observing the figures raising glasses, shifting plates, or even gesturing in conversation, only for the booths to appear empty moments later. These apparitions are often faint and fleeting, visible in the corner of the eye, and vanish when looked at directly. Guests have recounted the eerie sensation of feeling watched, as if unseen diners were still present, quietly occupying spaces that have long been reserved for them. Chairs moving without explanation are another hallmark of the Red Lion Inn's haunting. Staff working after hours or performing nightly cleanups have described chairs scraping along the wooden floor, rocking slightly, or tilting as if pushed by invisible hands. Patrons visiting during quiet periods or evening tours have also witnessed this phenomenon, sometimes seeing a chair shift just as they approach a booth or table. These subtle movements are consistent enough to create a palpable sense of activity, suggesting that unseen presences continue to interact with the dining room in familiar, everyday ways. Even the faint creak of a chair moving can leave a lasting impression, amplifying a feeling that the inn is inhabited not only by its modern guests, but also by the spirits of those who once dined there. Whispers echoing through empty hallways add yet another layer to the inn's haunted reputation. Visitors have reported hearing soft murmurs drifting from side corridors, stairwells, or closed rooms, as if past conversations are replaying themselves in the stillness of the night. Staff members working late often describe a sudden sense of being observed, followed by voices that seem to move throughout the building, lingering near the dining room or along the halls connecting different parts of the inn. Some guests attending private tours have noted that the whispers are difficult to localize, appearing to move from room to room. sometimes accompanied by subtle creaks or the distant sound of a chair being shifted. These auditory experiences heighten the sensation that the Red Lion enters a space where the past continues to interact with the present. Certain areas of the inn appear particularly active. Booths along the walls, corners tucked beneath antique lighting, and corridors adjacent to the dining room are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses report experiencing multiple phenomena simultaneously, such as chairs moving while whispers echo along hallways, or ghostly figures seated at tables while cold drafts sweep through the room. Even minor occurrences, like napkins shifting or a glass gently tilting on a table, reinforce the impression that the inn is occupied by unseen diners and staff, preserving the routines of a bygone era. The layering of visual, auditory, and physical phenomena creates an immersive environment where history and the supernatural intersect. The long history of the Red Lion and provides context for these reports. Over nearly 2.5 centuries, countless guests, staff, and local visitors have passed through its doors, leaving behind emotional and energetic imprints. Guests celebrating special occasions, artists sketching or writing, and staff attending to their duties may have left residual energy that manifests in the form of ghostly diners, moving furniture, or whispered voices. The architecture of the building, with its historic woodwork, high ceilings, and enclosed dining spaces, may preserve these impressions in a way that allows the echoes of the past to be felt and experienced by those present. Even during organized evening tours or private after-hours events, unusual encounters continue. Visitors report ghostly diners, chairs moving independently, and whispers drifting through empty hallways. Some witnesses describe cold drafts accompanying the phenomena with a subtle sense of being observed while moving through the inn. These brief encounters leave lasting impressions, creating a uniquely immersive connection to the history and atmosphere of the Red Lion Inn. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the Red Lion Inn continues to operate as a popular and esteemed dining and lodging destination. By day, it offers guests comfort, exceptional cuisine, and the historic charm of Stockbridge. By night, however, it becomes a place where ghostly diners continue their meals, chairs move on their own, and whispers echo through otherwise empty hallways. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a historic space, they remain an integral part of the Inna's mystique. For those willing to experience the Red Lion in after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. The presence of ghostly diners, shifting chairs, and drifting whispers combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Red Lion Inn stands as a testament to centuries of history, the lives of those who passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where history and the supernatural coexist. The Red Lion Inn stands as a testament to centuries of history. The Red Lion Inn stands as a testament to centuries of history, the lives of those who passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past. The Bell in Hand Tavern in Boston, Massachusetts, is one of the oldest continuously operating taverns in the United States, is considered one of the oldest continuously operating taverns in the United States, is considered one of the oldest continuously operating taverns in the United States, is considered one of the oldest continuously operating taverns in the United States, is considered one of the oldest. By day and early evening, the tavern is filled with the sound of conversation, laughter, and clinking glasses as patrons enjoy hearty meals, traditional Alesh, and the vibrant energy of the city's historic North End. Yet, when the crowds dissipate and the doors are locked for the night, one of the most commonly reported phenomena involves phantom patrons lingering after hours. Staff working late or cleaning after the last guests have departed frequently described the sensation of unseen figures sitting at tables, occupying booths, or leaning against a bar. Some have reported glimpsing shadowy shapes moving slowly among the tables, appearing almost as if they are engaged in quiet conversation or quietly nursing a drink. These apparitions often appear at the edge of vision and vanish when directly observed, leaving staff with the eerie impression that the taverna's historical patrons are still present, continuing their routines long after the building is closed for the night. Chairs moving on their own are another hallmark of the Bell in Hand Taverna's haunted reputation. Staff members frequently recount hearing the distinct scrape of a chair across the wooden floor, only to find no one in the area. Chairs may rock slightly as if someone just stood up, or they may shift positions, nudged seemingly by invisible hands. Patrons visiting the tavern during quieter evening hours have also reported seeing chairs move subtly, often accompanied by the soft creak of floorboards or the gentle rustle of table settings. These unexplained movements reinforce the impression that the tavern is inhabited not only by its modern patrons, but also by echoes of those who dined and drank there long ago. Shadowy figures near the bar are yet another common experience reported at the Bell in Hand Tavern. Patrons on guided evening tours have also recounted noticing figures standing behind the bar, only for the space to appear empty moments later. These shadowy figures often seem to move with purpose, mimicking the actions of bartenders or patrons from decades past. The presence of these apparitions creates a heightened sense of history and mystery, reinforcing the idea that the tavern continues to be a place of social interaction even in the absence of living guests. Certain areas of the tavern appear particularly active, according to staff and witnesses. Booths along the walls, corners beneath vintage light fixtures, and the space surrounding the bar itself are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Observers have reported multiple phenomena occurring simultaneously: phantom patrons seated at tables while chairs shift subtly, or shadowy figures moving near the bar while faint footsteps echo along the wooden floors. Even small details, like the clink of a glass or the faint creak of a floorboard, contribute to the impression that the tavern is alive with unseen activity. Even small details, like the clink of a glass or the faint creak of a floorboard, contribute to the impression that the tavern is alive with unseen activity. These overlapping experiences create an immersive atmosphere where history, architecture, and the unexplained intersect to form a hauntingly compelling environment. The long history of the Bell in Hand Tavern provides context for these reports. Over more than 2 centuries, countless individuals have passed through its doors, leaving behind emotional and energetic imprints. From Revolutionary-era patrons to modern-day visitors, the tavern has seen celebrations, gatherings, and countless stories unfold within its walls. Some paranormal researchers suggest that these concentrated human experiences can leave residual energy, manifesting as ghostly figures, moving furniture, or other unexplained phenomena. The building's historic woodwork, tight corners, and intimate spaces may further preserve these imprints, allowing the past to make itself felt in subtle and tangible ways. Even during organized evening tours or private after-hours events, unusual encounters continue to be reported. Guests have described shadowy figures moving near the bar, chairs scraping across the floor, and phantom patrons lingering at tables, long after the tavern should be empty. Some witnesses report feeling cold drafts or sensing an unseen presence nearby, amplifying the sensation of another world intersecting with their own. These brief encounters leave lasting impressions, creating a unique connection between present-day visitors and the centuries of history embodied by the tavern. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the Bell in Hand Tavern remains a beloved and thriving destination. By day, It welcomes patrons to enjoy hearty meals, drinks, and the vibrant atmosphere of historic Boston. By night, it becomes a space where ghostly patrons linger, chairs move without explanation, and shadowy figures haunt the bar. Whether these phenomena are the result of residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in historic spaces, they remain an enduring part of the taverna's allure and mystique. For those willing to explore the Bell and Hand Tavern after hours, the experiences are unforgettable. Phantom diners, moving chairs, and shadowy figures combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The tavern stands as a testament to Bostona's history, the lives of those who passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering guests a rare glimpse into a world where history and the supernatural coexist. The Slaughterhouse Bar and Grill in Chicago, Illinois, is a restaurant steeped in history, known not only for its hearty fare and vibrant atmosphere, but also for the dark events of the past that continue to echo within its walls. Housed in a building with a storied and often tragic past, the restaurant draws locals and tourists alike who are intrigued by its combination of culinary offerings and historical significance. By day, the dining room is lively, filled with the aroma of smoked meats, grilled dishes, and sizzling sides. Patrons enjoy robust meals while servers navigate the tables, providing attentive service in an environment that balances modern hospitality with the weight of history. Yet when the crowds leave and the restaurant closes for the night, the atmosphere reportedly shifts. Guests and staff have long claimed that the Slaughterhouse Bar and Grill is a space where echoes of the past remain, manifesting in subtle and sometimes startling ways. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves ghostly figures appearing in mirrors. Staff working late or cleaning after closing have described fleeting images reflected in the glass, often resembling patrons from a bygone era. These figures sometimes appear fully formed, sitting at a table or moving through the room, only to vanish when observed directly. Guests attending evening tours have reported similar experiences, noting that the reflections seem to follow them, appearing at different angles, as if moving independently of the actual patrons present. The effect is disorienting, leaving witnesses with the impression that the restaurant is still occupied by those who once dined and socialized there, lingering long after their time in the physical world ended. Cold spots are another hallmark of the Slaughterhouse Bar and Grill-esque haunting. Patrons and staff have reported sudden, localized drops in temperature in areas that should remain warm, even during full heating seasons. These cold drafts often appear near corners, along aisles, or around tables that have been cleared for hours. Employees recount feeling a chill brush past them as they walk through the empty dining room, sometimes moving in tandem with visual or auditory phenomena. Guests visiting on after-hours tours describe the cold as almost tangible, drifting along with them as they navigate the room. Guests visiting on after-hours tours describe the cold as almost tangible, drifting along with them as they navigate the room. These sudden drops in temperature heighten the sense of presence and contribute to the restaurant's reputation as a place where the past continues to make itself felt. Phantom voices calling out from empty tables further add to the restaurant's eerie reputation. Staff and visitors alike have reported hearing murmured conversations, faint laughter, or even individual voices repeating phrases, as if interacting with unseen diners. These sounds often appear to come from specific tables or booths that are entirely unoccupied, adding to the impression of ghostly patrons lingering long after closing. Some witnesses describe the voices as echoing off walls, creating an immersive auditory experience that seems to envelop the entire dining area. These auditory phenomena often coincide with other paranormal occurrences, such as cold spots or ghostly reflections in mirrors, creating a layered sense of haunting that is both unsettling and compelling. Certain areas of the Slaughterhouse Bar and Grill appear particularly active, according to staff and witnesses. Tables near large mirrors, booths tucked into corners, and sections adjacent to historical architectural features are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Observers report multiple phenomena occurring simultaneously, such as a cold draft passing along a hallway, while a chair subtly shifts and a faint voice drifts from an empty table. Even minor details, like the clink of glassware or the movement of napkins, contribute to the sense that the restaurant is alive with unseen activity. These overlapping visual, auditory, and tactile experiences make the Slaughterhouse Bar and Grill-S history helps to contextualize these experiences. The building was once the site of tragic events that left lasting impressions on the space, including incidents involving violence, loss, and historical unrest. Over decades, countless patrons, staff, and visitors have passed through the restaurant, leaving emotional and energetic imprints that some paranormal researchers suggest may manifest as ghostly figures or unexplained sounds. The architecture of the building, with its aged wood, enclosed spaces, and reflective surfaces, may further preserve these imprints, allowing the past to intersect with the present in ways that feel both real and unsettling. Even during guided tours or after-hours events, unusual encounters continue. Guests have reported ghostly figures appearing in mirrors, and chairs subtly moving on their own, and cold spots drifting through the room. Some describe phantom voices echoing along walls, or the sensation of being observed by unseen patrons while navigating the dining area. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the Slaughterhouse Bar and Grill remains a popular dining destination. By day, it offers patrons hearty meals, lively conversation, and a unique blend of historical and culinary charm. By night, however, it transforms into a space where ghostly figures linger in mirrors. Cold drafts move unpredictably, and phantom voices call out from empty tables. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a historic space, they remain a defining element of the restaurant's mystique. For those willing to explore the Slaughterhouse Bar and Grill after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. Ghostly reflections, drifting cold, and phantom voices combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The restaurant stands as a testament to Chicago's layered history, the lives of those who passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, is world-renowned not only for its historic elegance and breathtaking mountain views, but also for its reputation as one of America's most famously haunted hotels. Among its many attractions, the Stanley Ghost Bar has drawn particular attention from visitors and staff who report unusual phenomena that suggest the past has never quite left the space. The bar, with its warm tones, vintage chandeliers, and historic copyright SOR, exudes an atmosphere of old-world sophistication. During the day, the room hums with the chatter of patrons, the clink of glasses, and the low murmur of conversation as visitors enjoy cocktails and small bites. By night, however, when the bar is closed and empty, many claim it transforms into a space where unseen diners and residual energy from past guests linger, creating experiences that are both unsettling and fascinating. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves phantom plates being served. Guests attending private tours or staff working late have described seeing dishes appear on tables as if brought by invisible servers. These plates sometimes seem freshly prepared, complete with the arrangement of food one would expect from attentive staff. Witnesses often note the plates appear in moments of quiet stillness, sometimes sliding slightly as if placed deliberately. Patrons have recounted feeling the sensation of a presence hovering nearby, adding to the impression that invisible hands are tending to tables that have long been empty. These manifestations create a surreal blend of the familiar and the uncanny, merging the hospitality of the past with the eerie stillness of the present. Ghostly diners sitting across empty tables are another hallmark of the ghost bar-ass haunting. Visitors have reported seeing indistinct figures seated, often poised as if mid-conversation or enjoying an unseen meal. These apparitions are typically observed at the edge of Oni's vision, only to vanish when directly looked at. Staff members working late have described encountering these figures in corners or near tables tucked against the walls, sometimes observing their subtle movements and gestures, shifting posture, or the raising of a glass before the figures disappear entirely. Guests on evening tours have similarly reported glimpsing these shadowy diners, leaving them with the unnerving impression that the bar is never truly empty. The ghostly patrons seem to occupy the same routines and spaces that living guests would, adding a tangible sense of continuity across decades. Shadowy figures moving silently through the room further enhance the bar's spectral reputation. Staff have recounted seeing dark, human-shaped silhouettes glide along aisles between tables, move near the bar, or traverse corners without a sound. These figures appear deliberate, navigating the room with purpose, yet vanish when approached or focused upon. Visitors attending evening tours have reported the sensation of being watched, only to notice movement just beyond their line of sight. The figures often seem to interact with the environment in subtle ways, like shifting an object, adjusting a napkin, or pausing near a table, creating a sense of life where none exists. These experiences leave witnesses with the impression that the bar retains echoes of its historic patrons and staff, preserving their routines in spectral form. Certain areas of the ghost bar appear particularly active. Tables near the windows, corners beneath chandeliers, and the bar itself are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses have reported overlapping phenomena occurring simultaneously of phantom plates appearing on tables, while ghostly diners sit silently, or shadowy figures gliding past tables as subtle creaks of the floorboards accompany their presence. Even minor details, like a napkin fluttering or a glass tilting, add layers to the experience, reinforcing the idea that the bar is occupied in ways unseen by the living. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile sensations contributes to an immersive, haunting environment. The rich history of the Stanley Hotel and its bar helps explain these experiences. For over a century, countless guests, staff, and visitors have passed through, leaving behind impressions and energy that some paranormal researchers suggest can manifest as residual hauntings. The building has witnessed celebrations, social gatherings, and quiet moments alike, all of which may have left emotional or energetic imprints on the space. The architecture, with its historic woodwork, high ceilings, and enclosed corners, may preserve these imprints, allowing echoes of past activity to emerge in ways perceptible to the living. Even during organized tours and after-hours events, unusual encounters persist. Guests have reported phantom plates appearing on tables, ghostly diners occupying empty seats, and shadowy figures moving silently through the bar. Some describe subtle creaks, cold drafts, or fleeting whispers that accompany the phenomena, amplifying the sensation of an unseen presence. These brief but vivid experiences create a strong connection between visitors and the rich history of the Stanley Hotel, leaving lasting impressions long after the encounter. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the Stanley S. Ghost Bar continues to be a vibrant and popular destination. By day, it offers a welcoming space for cocktails, conversation, and historic charm. By night, it transforms into a hauntingly immersive environment where phantom plates are served, ghostly diners remain seated, and shadowy figures glide silently across the room. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a historic setting, they remain an enduring part of the bar's allure. For those willing to experience the Stanley S. Ghost Bar after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. The ghostly diners, phantom plates, and silent shadows combine to create a uniquely immersive atmosphere. The Stanley Hotel stands as a testament to Estes Park's history, the lives of its past guests, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. The Old Pink House in Savannah, Georgia, is one of the city's most historic and iconic dining establishments. Built in the 18th century, the building has served as a home, tavern, and gathering place for centuries, leaving a rich and layered history within its walls. Today, it welcomes diners from around the world, offering classic Southern cuisine, warm hospitality, and a unique blend of charm and elegance. The restaurant's interior, with its low ceilings, exposed beams, and antique copyright silverware, exudes a sense of timelessness, creating an inviting atmosphere for both locals and visitors. The Old Pink House in Savannah, Georgia, is one of the city's most historic and iconic dining establishments. The restaurant's interior, with its low ceilings, exposed beams, and antique copyright COR, exudes a sense of timelessness, creating an inviting atmosphere for both locals and visitors. During the day, the Old Pink House is filled with the sounds of laughter, conversation, and the clinking of cutlery as servers move among tables delivering plates of traditional fare. Yet, when the dining room empties and the evening quiets the streets outside, many staff and visitors report that the restaurant takes on a decidedly different energy, one that suggests the presence of unseen guests from the past. One of the most commonly reported phenomena involves shadowy figures walking among the tables. Guests and staff alike have described fleeting silhouettes moving gracefully through the dining room, often disappearing when approached or directly observed. These figures are often indistinct and human-shaped, leaving witnesses with the impression that former patrons or staff members continue to occupy the space, quietly navigating the familiar layout of the restaurant. Some staff members describe the sensation of being observed, even when a room appears empty, as if these shadowy presences are silently monitoring activity. Cold spots are another hallmark of the Old Pink House as haunting. Visitors and employees have frequently reported sudden drops in temperature in specific areas, often localized near corners, booths, or along narrow aisles. These chills can appear abruptly and seem to move unpredictably, brushing past diners or staff as they pass. During after-hours cleaning or private tours, some witnesses have described walking through warm areas only to step into pockets of intense cold that feel almost tangible. The cold spots often coincide with other paranormal phenomena, such as shadowy figures or moving objects, enhancing the impression that unseen presences inhabit the restaurant alongside the living. Chairs moving without contact add another layer of mystery to the Old Pink House. Staff have reported chairs sliding slightly away from tables, tilting as if someone just risen, or rocking gently without explanation. Patrons visiting during quiet evening hours or guided tours have also described witnessing the subtle motion of seating, even in areas where no one is present. These small, seemingly inconsequential movements contribute to the sense of activity in an otherwise empty space, suggesting that past diners continue their routines or that residual energy has imprinted itself on the furniture. Even the faint creak of a chair moving across the wood floor can be enough to unsettle witnesses and create an immersive experience of the supernatural. Certain areas of the restaurant appear particularly active, according to both staff and visitors. Booths along the walls, corners beneath vintage lighting fixtures, and tables near historical architectural features are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses have reported multiple phenomena occurring simultaneously, such as cold drafts moving past tables while shadowy figures glide silently between booths, or chairs rocking subtly as unseen hands brush by. Certain areas of the restaurant appear particularly active, according to both staff and visitors. Even small details, like the shifting of a napkin or the faint rattle of a utensil, reinforce the perception that the Old Pink House is alive with unseen activity, blending the historical presence of past patrons with a contemporary dining experience. The long and countless individuals of residents, travelers, tavern-goers, and staffa have passed through the building, leaving behind emotional and energetic imprints that some paranormal researchers believe can manifest as ghostly apparitions, moving objects, or cold spots. The building-esque architecture, including its thick walls, enclosed booths, and antique woodwork, may help preserve these impressions, allowing echoes of the past to surface in subtle and perceptible ways. The energy of former patrons and staff seems to linger in the spaces where they once spent time, creating a layered and immersive haunting for those who encounter it. Even during guided evening tours or after-hours events, unusual encounters continue to be reported. Guests have described shadowy figures moving silently between tables, chairs shifting without explanation, and sudden cold drafts brushing against them. Some witnesses report feeling a presence nearby or hearing faint murmurs that cannot be explained by natural sources. These brief but vivid experiences leave lasting impressions, connecting visitors to the rich history and haunted character of the Old Pink House. Despite these reports of paranormal activity, the Old Pink House remains a thriving and beloved restaurant. By day, it offers patrons classic Southern cuisine, warm hospitality, and the charm of historic Savannah. By night, it becomes a space where shadowy figures roam among tables, chairs move on their own, and cold spots drift unpredictably through the room. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a historic setting, they remain a defining aspect of the restaurant-esque mystique. For those willing to explore the Old Pink House after hours, the experiences are unforgettable. The presence of ghostly diners, moving chairs, and drifting cold combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Old Pink House stands as a testament to Savannah's layered history, the lives of those who passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where history and the supernatural coexist. The Ladue restaurant in St. Louis, Missouri, is known for its elegant atmosphere, fine dining, and historic charm. Guests enjoy the aroma of expertly prepared dishes, the quiet hum of conversation, and the attentive service that makes each meal feel special. With polished wood interiors, soft lighting, and classic copyright COR, it has long been a favorite destination for locals and visitors seeking a refined culinary experience. By day and evening, the restaurant exudes sophistication and comfort, offering a welcoming space for both casual diners and celebratory gatherings. Yet, beneath this refined surface, many visitors and staff have reported experiences that suggest the Ladue restaurant is not entirely empty, even after the last patrons have departed. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves ghostly diners finishing meals. Guests attending evening tours or staff working late shifts have described seeing figures seated at tables, quietly eating as if the restaurant were still in full swing. These apparitions are often faint and partially transparent, appearing only at the edge of vision and vanish when observed directly. Staff have recounted moments when plates seemed to move subtly or when the remnants of meals appeared on tables that had been cleared hours earlier. Patrons on private tours have described the sensation of being watched by unseen diners, giving the impression that those who once dined here continue their routines long after leaving the physical world. These ghostly diners seem to inhabit the restaurant with a quiet, unobtrusive presence, maintaining the habits of a bygone era. Cold drafts are another hallmark of the Ladue restaurant-esque haunting. Visitors and employees have reported sudden drops in temperature in specific areas, often along aisles, near booths, or adjacent to walls lined with historic copyright COR, sometimes moving as if they are following a person to the dining area, even when the rest of the room remains comfortably warm. Guests attending after-hours tours have noted the same phenomena, describing a tangible sensation that seems to accompany the presence of ghostly diners or shadowy figures. These cold drafts amplify the sense of another world intersecting with the present, creating an eerie and immersive atmosphere. Shadowy figures gliding across dining areas further contribute to the restaurant-esque reputation for hauntings. Staff have reported seeing dark, human-shaped silhouettes moving silently along aisles, past tables, or near corners of the room. Patrons visiting on quiet evenings or guided tours have described observing these figures disappear as they approach, leaving only an empty space where movement had been detected moments before. Some witnesses have noted that these shadows appear to move with intention, pausing briefly near tables or gliding past chairs as if performing familiar routines. The figures often seem to interact subtly with their surroundings, giving the impression that the Ladue restaurant remains a space occupied, in some sense, by the echoes of past patrons. Certain areas of the restaurant appear particularly active. Tables along the walls, corners beneath vintage light fixtures, and spaces near historic woodwork are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Observers have reported multiple phenomena occurring simultaneously, such as ghostly diners finishing meals while cold drafts move across the floor, or shadowy figures gliding silently past unoccupied tables. Even minor movements, like a napkin tilting slightly or the faint clink of silverware, reinforce the impression that the restaurant is alive with unseen activity. These overlapping visual, tactile, and auditory experiences create a layered, immersive environment where the presence of the past is deeply felt. The Ledoux restaurant's long history provides context for these reports. Over decades, countless patrons, employees, and visitors have passed through its doors, leaving behind emotional and energetic imprints. Celebratory dinners, quiet lunches, and everyday meals may have contributed residual energy to the space, which some paranormal researchers suggest can manifest as ghostly figures, moving objects, or sudden temperature changes. The architecture of the restaurant, with its wooden floors, enclosed booths, and historic design, may further preserve these impressions, allowing echoes of past patrons to surface and interact with the living, even during organized after-hours tours or private events. Unusual encounters persist. Guests have reported shadowy figures gliding through dining areas, plates appearing on empty tables, and cold drafts following them as they navigate the space. Some witnesses describe subtle sounds, faint murmurs, or creaks in the floor that seem to coincide with the presence of ghostly diners. These fleeting experiences create an immersive connection to the history of the Ledoux restaurant and leave lasting impressions on those who encounter them. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the Ledoux restaurant remains a beloved dining destination. By day, it offers patrons exceptional cuisine, welcoming ambience, and historic charm. By night, it transforms into a space where ghostly diners finish meals, cold drafts move unpredictably, and shadowy figures glide silently across dining areas. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a historic setting, they continue to contribute to the restaurant's mystique. For those willing to explore the Ledoux restaurant after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. Ghostly diners, drifting cold, and shadowy figures combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Ledoux restaurant stands as a testament to St. Louisa history, the lives of its past patrons, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where history and the supernatural coexist. The Buckhorn Exchange in Denver, Colorado, is a legendary restaurant and museum. Established in 1893, it is known not only for its hearty steaks, wild game dishes, and classic Western ambience, but also for its long and storied history as a gathering place for hunters, pioneers, and travelers. Guests are drawn to the restaurant for both its cuisine and the unique experience of dining among an extensive display of mounted animals, antique firearms, and historic memorabilia. By day and during regular dining hours, the Buckhorn Exchange hums with conversation, laughter, and the clinking of cutlery as visitors explore the eclectic exhibits while enjoying traditional fare. However, when the crowd depart and the restaurant falls silent, many staff and visitors report experiences that suggest the Buckhorn Exchange is far from empty, revealing a presence of the past that lingers among the tables, displays, and corridors. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves chairs moving on their own. Staff working late or performing nightly cleanings have described chairs sliding slightly away from tables, rocking as if someone just stood up, or even shifting entirely across the floor. Guests attending after-hours tours or private events have observed chairs in booths and along tables tilt or scrape the wooden floor without any visible cause. These movements are often subtle yet consistent, giving the impression that former patrons are continuing their routines in the empty dining areas. The quiet scrape of a chair, combined with the stillness of the room, can leave witnesses with a chilling sensation of being observed or joined by unseen diners. Shadowy figures near displays add another layer to the Buckhorn Exchange's haunted reputation. Visitors and staff alike have reported seeing indistinct, human-shaped silhouettes moving among the mounted animal trophies, along the walls, or between display cases. These figures often appear to glide silently, pausing occasionally near particular exhibits before fading from view. Some witnesses have described a sense that the shadows are interacting with the displays, examining items or moving past them as though retracing the steps of former hunters and patrons. Patrons on evening tours have reported glimpsing these figures out of the corner of their eye, only to find empty spaces when they turn. The presence of these apparitions creates a sense that the Buckhorn Exchange continues to be occupied by echoes of those who built, frequented, and shaped the restaurant's long history. Phantom footsteps echoing at night are yet another hallmark of the Buckhorn Exchange's eerie atmosphere. Staff working after hours have recounted hearing the sound of boots or shoes pacing along the wooden floors, moving from a main dining area to the display rooms or corridors, only to vanish when investigated. Guests have described the same phenomenon during private after-hours tours, reporting footsteps that seem to follow them as they navigate the restaurant, even when no other person is present. These auditory phenomena often coincide with other manifestations, such as chairs moving, cold drafts, or shadowy figures, creating a layered and immersive experience of haunting that is both subtle and unsettling. Certain areas of the restaurant appear particularly active. Tables along walls, corners beneath vintage lighting, and sections near prominent animal displays are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses report multiple phenomena occurring simultaneously, such as phantom footsteps echoing while chairs shift on their own or shadowy figures glide silently near exhibits. Even small details, like the faint clink of silverware or the subtle sway of a mounted animala's antlers in the dim lighting, contribute to the impression that the Buckhorn Exchange is alive with unseen activity. These overlapping experiences create a multi-sensory haunting that engages, sight, sound, and touch amplifying the sense of historical presence. The rich history of the Buckhorn Exchange helps explain these occurrences. Over more than a century, countless hunters, travelers, and staff members have passed through its doors, leaving behind emotional and energetic imprints. Some paranormal researchers suggest that locations with significant human activity and emotional investment can retain residual energy, manifesting as ghostly figures, moving objects, or unexplained sounds. The building-esque woodwork, narrow aisles, and enclosed display rooms may further preserve these impressions, allowing echoes of the past to surface in ways that are perceptible to the living, even during organized evening tours or private after-hours events. Guests have reported shadowy figures moving near displays, chairs subtly shifting, and the sound of footsteps echoing across empty floors. Some have described cold drafts accompanying the phenomena or the sensation of an unseen presence nearby. These brief yet vivid experiences leave lasting impressions, connecting visitors to the Buckhorn Exchange's deep history and its enduring spectral legacy. Despite its haunted reputation, the Buckhorn Exchange remains a thriving and popular dining and museum destination. By day, it offers patrons expertly prepared meals, warm hospitality, and an immersive historical environment. Whether these occurrences are the result of residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened awareness in a historic setting, they remain an integral part of the restaurant's character. By night, it transforms into a space where phantom footsteps echo, chairs move without contact, and shadowy figures glide silently among the exhibits. Whether these occurrences are the result of residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened awareness in a historic setting, they remain an integral part of the restaurant's character. For those willing to experience the Buckhorn Exchange after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. Moving chairs, ghostly silhouettes, and echoing footsteps combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Buckhorn Exchange stands as a testament to Denver's history, the lives of those who have passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where history and the supernatural coexist, offering a glimpse into a world beyond the ordinary. The Pioneer Saloon in Virginia City, Nevada, is one of the most historic and celebrated establishments of the American West. Built during the height of the silver mining boom in the mid-19th century, the saloon quickly became a gathering place for miners, gamblers, and travelers seeking food, drink, and entertainment. Its wooden floors, exposed beams, and vintage Western copyright soar evoke the atmosphere of a bygone era, making it a popular destination for both locals and tourists. During the day and evening hours, the saloon hums with activity. The clinking of glasses, the shuffle of chairs, and the laughter of patrons create a lively environment. Visitors enjoy hearty meals, classic cocktails, and live music that echoes the traditions of the Old West. Live music that echoes the traditions of the Old West. Yet, long after the last patrons have departed, the Pioneer Saloon is said to take on a different energy, one filled with the echoes of its storied past. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves ghostly cowboys sitting at tables. Staff and evening tour guests have described shadowy figures appearing in booths, often indistinct yet unmistakably human in shape. These apparitions are sometimes seen wearing period attire, from wide-brimmed hats to vests and boots, as if frozen in the act of enjoying a drink or conversing with companions. Witnesses recount the eerie sensation of observing these figures without being able to interact with them, only for them to vanish when approached. Patrons and staff alike report the feeling of being in the presence of former miners and gamblers who seemingly continue their routines long after their time in the saloon has ended. The ghostly cowboys appear to maintain the habits of the Old West, giving the impression that the saloon remains a living space for spirits of its past. Chairs moving on their own are another hallmark of the Pioneer Saloon-esque haunting. Staff cleaning late at night have described chairs rocking slightly or sliding across the floor, without contact, as though an invisible presence had just shifted its seat. Tour groups in quieter hours have witnessed chairs moving subtly in empty booths, sometimes accompanied by faint creaks of the wooden floor. These movements are often small but consistent, enough to create the sense that unseen patrons are occupying the space, maintaining rituals of sitting, standing, and conversing. Even the subtle scrape of a chair against the floor can evoke a startling sense of presence, leaving witnesses with a strong impression of the saloon as a place where the past and present intersect. Phantom sounds of laughter and music add yet another layer to the Pioneer Saloon-esque spectral reputation. Staff have reported hearing faint strains of piano music drifting from the old stage area, or the sound of dice rattling on a table. Even when the room is completely empty, visitors have described the echo of laughter and conversation, seemingly emanating from tables no longer in use. These sounds often appear in hallways or near the bar, creating an immersive auditory experience that makes the saloon feel momentarily alive with its historic patrons. Creating an immersive auditory experience that makes the saloon feel momentarily alive with its historic patrons. Witnesses often report that these phantom sounds coincide with other phenomena, such as moving chairs or shadowy figures, reinforcing the impression that the saloon-esque history is alive in subtle and perceptible ways. Certain areas of the Pioneer Saloon appear particularly active. Tables along the walls, corners beneath chandeliers, and the stage area where musicians once performed are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses report multiple phenomena occurring simultaneously, such as ghostly cowboys seated at tables while laughter echoes across empty halls, or chairs moving in coordination with unseen footsteps. Even minor occurrences, like the faint rattle of a glass or the shifting of a napkin, contribute to the sense that the saloon is occupied by unseen presences. These overlapping visual, auditory, and tactile experiences create a deeply immersive haunting, one that engages the senses and leaves a lasting impression on those who encounter it. The long history of the Pioneer Saloon provides context for these reports. Built during a period of rapid growth and colorful characters, the saloon has hosted countless patrons, including miners, gamblers, entertainers, and travelers. Over decades, these individuals may have left behind emotional or energetic imprints, which paranormal researchers suggest can manifest as ghostly figures, moving objects, or unexplained sounds. The architecture of the building, with its wooden floors, low ceilings, and enclosed corners, may help preserve these impressions, allowing echoes of the past to emerge for the living, even during guided evening tours or private after-hours events. Unusual encounters continue. Visitors have reported ghostly cowboys seated at tables, chairs shifting independently, and laughter or music emanating from empty rooms. Some witnesses describe the sensation of being watched or followed by an unseen presence. intensifying the immersive experience. These brief, fleeting phenomena leave a strong impression, connecting participants to the storied history of the Pioneer Saloon and the characters who once brought it to life. Despite its haunted reputation, the Pioneer Saloon remains a thriving and beloved destination. By day and evening, it offers patrons hearty meals, historic ambience, and lively entertainment. By night, however, it becomes a space where ghostly cowboys linger. Chairs move on their own, and phantom laughter and music fill the halls. Whether these experiences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a historic environment, they are an integral part of the Saloon's allure. For those willing to explore the Pioneer Saloon after hours, the encounters are unforgettable. Ghostly cowboys, moving chairs, and phantom sounds combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The saloon stands as a testament to Virginia City's colorful history, the lives of those who passed through its doors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where the spirit of the Old West still lingers. The Chelsea Hotel in New York City is a landmark of artistic history, known for its vibrant culture, legendary residents, and storied past. Its restaurant, nestled within the iconic building, exudes a unique charm that reflects the hotel's long-standing reputation as a haven for writers, musicians, and creative minds. During the day and evening, the restaurant is alive with patrons enjoying meals, the hum of conversation, and the gentle clinking of cutlery against plates. Servers move between tables with practiced ease, delivering a combination of fine cuisine and a sense of old-world hospitality. Yet, many visitors and staff have reported that after the last diners leave, the Chelsea Hotel restaurant transforms into a space where the past lingers and the presence of unseen guests can be felt. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves shadowy figures sitting at tables, staff cleaning after hours, and guests attending private tours. Have described dark, human-shaped silhouettes occupying booths and tables, often appearing fully formed but partially transparent. These figures seem to go about the motions of dining, occasionally adjusting posture or gesturing, yet vanish when directly observed. Patrons have described the eerie sensation of being watched by these unseen diners, giving the impression that the restaurant continues to host guests who have long since departed from the physical world. These shadowy figures are not aggressive or threatening. Rather, they seem to inhabit the space, as if maintaining routines from decades past, preserving the history of the Chelsea within the quiet hours of the night. Cold drafts are another hallmark of the Chelsea Hotel Restaurant's haunting. These cold pockets can appear without warning, brushing past diners or employees and moving unpredictably through the room. Staff cleaning or closing late at night have described feeling a chill pass along their arms or across their shoulders, even when the rest of the room remains comfortably warm. Guests attending private evening tours have reported similar sensations, noting that the cold often seems to accompany other phenomena, such as the appearance of shadowy figures or the faint creak of furniture moving on its own. These inexplicable drops in temperature enhance the sense that the Chelsea restaurant is a space where the energy of the past remains present. Ghostly voices in unoccupied rooms further contribute to the restaurant's eerie reputation. Staff and visitors have reported faint conversations, murmurs, and even laughter emanating from areas where no one is present. The voices sometimes appear to echo through hallways or dining rooms, creating an immersive auditory experience that makes the restaurant feel momentarily alive with unseen patrons. Guests have described hearing the distinct tones of conversation or the quiet clinking of glassware, even when walking through empty sections of the restaurant. These auditory phenomena often coincide with visual and tactile occurrences, such as shadowy figures moving, or cold drafts sweeping across the floor, creating a layered and compelling sense of haunting. Certain areas of the Chelsea Hotel restaurant appear particularly active. Tables along the walls, corners beneath chandeliers, and sections near historic architectural features are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses have reported multiple phenomena occurring simultaneously, such as cold drafts passing through the room, while shadowy figures glide silently near booths or ghostly voices echo across hallways. Even small details like a napkin shifting or a chair tilting slightly add to the impression that the space is occupied by unseen presences. The overlapping of visual, auditory, and tactile experiences creates an immersive haunting that engages multiple senses, leaving visitors with a lasting impression of the Chelsea spectral dimension. The long and complex history of the Chelsea Hotel provides context for these experiences. Over more than a century, countless guests, artists, and staff members have passed through its doors, leaving emotional and energetic imprints that some paranormal researchers suggest may persist as residual hauntings. The architecture, with its high ceilings, wooden floors, and enclosed rooms, may further preserve these imprints, allowing echoes of past diners and hotel residents to surface in perceptible ways. The energy of former patrons seems to linger, quietly occupying spaces that were once filled with life, conversation, and celebration, even during guided after-hours tours or special events. Unusual encounters continue. Guests have reported shadowy figures seated at tables, chairs moving without explanation, and cold drafts following them as they navigate the restaurant. Some describe hearing faint whispers or laughter that seem to emanate from empty rooms, enhancing the immersive experience. These fleeting phenomena create a tangible connection between visitors and the Chelsea Hotel's rich history, leaving a lasting impression on those who encounter them. Despite the reports of paranormal activity, the Chelsea Hotel restaurant remains a beloved dining destination. By day and evening, it offers patrons fine cuisine, historic ambience, and a sense of connection to New York City's artistic past. By night, it becomes a space where shadowy figures sit at tables, cold drafts drift unpredictably, and ghostly voices echo through empty rooms. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a historic environment, they remain an essential part of the restaurant's mystique. For those willing to explore the Chelsea Hotel restaurant after hours, the experiences are unforgettable. Shadowy diners, cold drafts, and ghostly voices combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Chelsea Hotel stands as a testament to New York City's layered history, the lives of its residents and visitors, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering a rare glimpse into a world where history and the supernatural coexist. The Lemp Mansion in St. Louis, Missouri, is a storied landmark that combines Southern Gothic architecture with a tragic and compelling history. Once the home of the Lemp family, famous for their brewing empire in the 19th and early 20th centuries, the mansion has since been converted into a restaurant and event venue that draws visitors from across the country. Its historic charm, Victorian copyright COR, and candlelit ambience make it a favorite for dining, special occasions, and ghost tours alike. During the day, guests enjoy hearty meals, carefully crafted drinks, and a unique glimpse into the opulent lifestyle of the Lemp family. The air is filled with the quiet murmur of conversation, the occasional clinking of silverware, and the rich aroma of prepared dishes. Yet, many visitors and staff report that after the daytime crowds depart, the mansion transforms into a space that seems alive with the presence of its former inhabitants. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves ghostly apparitions walking among the tables. Guests dining during evening hours, as well as participants in guided ghost tours, have described seeing faint human-shaped figures moving silently through the restaurant. These apparitions often appear dressed in period attire, reflecting the styles of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, and seem to glide rather than walk. Witnesses recount the unnerving sensation of being observed, as if these spectral diners are silently surveying the present-day patrons in their old home. Staff working late shifts have reported similar experiences, noting shadows that move along the perimeter of rooms or pause momentarily near tables, disappearing when approached. These ghostly figures appear to be echoes of the Lemp family and former staff, inhabiting the mansion in ways that mirror the routines of their lives long ago. Cold spots are another hallmark of the Lemp Mansion's haunted reputation. Visitors and employees have reported sudden, unexplained drops in temperature in certain sections of the restaurant. These pockets of cold often occur near corners by the staircase or along hallways adjacent to dining areas. Guests have described the sensation of a chilly presence brushing past them as they walk from table to table, while staff have felt cold air sweep across their shoulders or along their arms during cleaning or maintenance. The cold spots often seem to coincide with the appearance of ghostly figures, intensifying the eerie atmosphere. Many believe these sudden chills are not merely drafts, but manifestations of lingering energy left behind by the Mansione Pass inhabitants. Objects shifting on their own further contribute to the Mansione spectral reputation. Diners and staff alike have described chairs tilting or moving slightly without contact, silverware sliding on tables, or small decorative items changing position after being set. Patrons on evening tours have witnessed doors opening slowly or glasses vibrating subtly, seemingly in response to an unseen presence. These movements are often subtle yet consistent, creating the impression that the Lemp family and their former staff continue to interact with the physical environment of the mansion. Even the smallest changes, such as a chair nudged slightly away from a table, leave an unmistakable impression that the restaurant is occupied in ways beyond the ordinary. Certain areas of the mansion appear to be particularly active. Tables near the grand staircase are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses often report multiple phenomena occurring simultaneously. A cold spot sweeps across a hallway, while ghostly figures glide silently through dining areas. Objects shift inexplicably on tables. The overlapping of visual, tactile, and temperature-related experiences creates a fully immersive haunting, leaving a lasting impression on those who encounter it. The tragic history of the Lemp family provides context for these reports. Over the decades, the family experienced both great wealth and profound sorrow, with several members dying under mysterious or tragic circumstances. Many paranormal researchers suggest that locations with intense emotional energy can retain residual energy, manifesting as ghostly figures, cold spots, or moving objects. The Mansione's thick walls, enclosed rooms, and antique architecture may further preserve these energetic imprints, allowing echoes of the past to surface for the living. The Mansione's thick walls, enclosed rooms, and antique architecture may further preserve these energetic imprints, allowing echoes of the past to surface for the living. Even during organized tours or after-hours events, unusual encounters persist. Guests have described ghostly figures moving between tables, chairs shifting on their own, and cold drafts sweeping through the dining area. Some have reported hearing faint murmurs, whispers, or the distant creaking of floorboards that cannot be attributed to structural settling. These brief yet vivid experiences create a palpable connection to the Mansione's past, allowing visitors to experience the lingering presence of the Lemp family in a unique and memorable way. Despite its haunted reputation, the Lemp Mansion restaurant continues to be a popular and vibrant destination. By day and evening, it offers guests fine cuisine, historic ambience, and a glimpse into the grandeur of St. Louisa past. By night, the mansion transforms into a space where ghostly figures walk among tables, objects shift without contact, and cold spots drift unpredictably through the rooms. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a historic setting, they are an enduring aspect of the Mansione's mystique. For those willing to explore the Lemp Mansion after hours, the experiences are unforgettable. Ghostly apparitions drifting cold and moving objects combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The Lemp Mansion stands as a testament to St. Louisa layered history, the lives and tragedies of the Lemp family, the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where history and the supernatural coexist. The Absinthe House in New Orleans, Louisiana, is one of the city's most iconic and historic bars. Located in the heart of the French Quarter, established in the early 1800s, the bar has long been a gathering place for locals, travelers, and artists seeking the unique charm and mystique of New Orleans. Its vibrant history, ornate copyright COR, and timeless atmosphere draw crowds who come to enjoy expertly crafted cocktails. lively conversation, and the distinctive character that has made the Absinthe House a landmark of the city. During the day and evening hours, patrons fill the bar, the air thick with the aroma of spirits, the clinking of glasses, and the murmur of conversation. However, many visitors and staff have reported that after crowds leave, the Absinthe House takes on a very different energy, one that suggests the presence of unseen patrons lingering from the past. One of the most commonly reported phenomena involves shadowy figures appearing at the bar. Guests visiting on late-night tours or attending private events have described indistinct human silhouettes standing or leaning against the bar, often visible in peripheral vision and fading when directly observed. Staff have recounted encounters in which they felt watched or sensed someone moving just beyond the edge of their sight, only to find no one there. Patrons report that these apparitions often resemble former customers from centuries past, appearing as if continuing their habits of ordering drinks or conversing quietly in the dimly lit space. The presence of these shadowy patrons creates an eerie but compelling atmosphere, where the history of the Absinthe House feels vividly alive. Phantom glasses moving without contact are another hallmark of the Absinthe House-esque haunting. Staff and visitors alike have reported seeing glasses shift slightly along the bar, tilt, or even slide across the surface, as if set in motion by invisible hands. Patrons on guided evening tours have witnessed glasses teetering precariously on the edge of tables, only to settle gently as if placed back by unseen fingers. These movements, though subtle, are consistent enough to leave an impression of active engagement by unseen spirits. Occasionally, silverware or small bar tools have also been observed moving without explanation, further contributing to the sense that the bar remains a space shared by both the living, the lingering presences of the past. Ghostly laughter echoing through empty rooms adds yet another dimension to the Absinthe House-esque spectral reputation. Staff have described hearing faint bursts of laughter, sometimes accompanied by murmured conversations or the clink of glassware, emanating from areas where no one is present. Guests visiting after hours have reported similar phenomena, describing the sensation of walking through a room filled with invisible revelers, their voices and laughter lingering like a residual echo of past gatherings. The laughter is often described as playful, yet slightly disquieting, perfectly matching the old-world charm of the bar, while reminding visitors that the space is not entirely empty. Certain areas of the Absinthe House appear to be particularly active. The bar itself, corners beneath chandeliers, and spaces near antique mirrors and historic fixtures are frequently cited as hotspots for paranormal activity. Witnesses often report multiple phenomena occurring simultaneously, such as shadowy figures lingering at the bar while glasses move and faint laughter echoes through the room. Even minor occurrences, like the subtle shifting of a napkin or the soft clatter of a small object, contribute to the impression that the Absinthe House is inhabited by unseen presences. The overlapping of visual, auditory, and tactile experiences creates a fully immersive haunting that leaves a lasting impression on those who encounter it. The Absinthe House-esque long and colorful history provides context for these reports. Over more than 2 centuries, countless patrons, bartenders, and visitors have passed through its doors, leaving behind emotional and energetic imprints. Some paranormal researchers suggest that locations with significant human activity and emotional investment can retain residual energy, manifesting as ghostly figures, moving objects, or unexplained sounds. The buildinga-esque architecture, with its thick walls, wooden floors, and enclosed corners, may further preserve these energetic traces, allowing echoes of the past to surface in ways perceptible to the living. Even during organized after-hours tours or private events, unusual encounters continue. Guests have reported shadowy patrons appearing at the bar, phantom glasses shifting slightly, and the faint sound of laughter drifting through empty rooms. Some describe the sensation of being watched, or hearing footsteps that fade as they approach. These fleeting experiences create a tangible connection between visitors and the rich history of the Absinthe House, leaving a memorable impression that blends the present with echoes of the past. Despite its reputation for paranormal activity, the Absinthe House remains a vibrant and celebrated destination. by day and evening. It offers patrons expertly crafted drinks, historic charm, and the unmistakable character of New Orleans. By night, however, it becomes a space where shadowy patrons linger, glasses move without contact, and ghostly laughter echoes through empty rooms. Whether these occurrences are residual energy, lingering spirits, or heightened perception in a historic setting, they remain an integral part of the Bar-es mystique. For those willing to explore the absent house after hours, the experiences are unforgettable. Shadowy figures, moving glasses, and ghostly laughter combine to create a hauntingly immersive atmosphere. The absent house stands as a testament to New Orleans' layered history, the lives of its patrons, and the lingering echoes of the past that continue to inhabit its spaces, offering visitors a rare glimpse into a world where history and the supernatural coexist. Restaurants are meant to be lively, filled with laughter and conversation. But for these 25 haunted eateries across America, the laughter never truly ends. It echoes from the past, with ghosts that refuse